Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Let me get this out the way.
Yeah, how are we doing tonight, guys? Thank you for waiting in the
Pull up
waiting
the
room.
chat real quick.
Yeah.
See all the love. Evening, guys. Marco, Polo. Okay. Who else we got in here? Hello, Honey Badger, always. Cooper 95. Nice. Okay, guys. So
The X feed says content not available. What's up with this?
where?
That's what people in the chat are saying. We're gonna check it on our end.
Let me see.
No, we're able to view it. It works for us. I'm not sure about that. What's up, new grouper? Glad you're with us tonight. Yeah, it works on our end, guys. So I'm not too sure about that.
Anybody else having that issue where it's not showing content? Oh,
We're feeling good,
Ella,
guys.
I'm feeling good tonight, you know?
Yeah, so this week, really, since we did the Sunday show, what news has been on your mind, Tim? Has it just been about the government shutdown? Because I know that's what we were just discussing before we went on air here.
I mean, it's hard because the X algorithm these days, man, it's
Where's it leading you?
it's leading me
feeding
down
you?
rabbit hole after rabbit hole.
Right.
But most of what I'm seeing right now is everything around the government shutdown. People are unhappy about the cost of living. I've seen a lot of people in politics doing the posting like they would normally do.
Right.
And then I'm also seeing stuff about Cash's girlfriend suing for $5 million, which is something we're gonna talk about tonight.
Yes. So it's a very interesting story. When I initially saw it, it was on my X feed. That's where I found out about all this. And it was Kash Patel's girlfriend sues Eliza Schaefer, and he does the Rift TV. He's like a right-wing pundit / activist. He's been around for a while. He's a good guy. But I thought it was just him, and then come to find out later, it's not only him, but it's also Kyle Seraphin and then one other guy. And Kyle Seraphin is like my dad's go-to guest for the show. Like, they love talking to each other. He's an FBI whistleblower, really good communicator, really solid on a lot of issues, and like stood tall when he needed to. And apparently he's been sued for $5 million too. And the thing that interests me about this whole story, Tim, is just the parallel in the sense of dealing with civil court between this and our case, right? You have someone that sues you, And like, where are the damages that they're suing you for? But they still sue you for this crazy amount of money.
Defamation is one of those like slippery slopes where you can kind of get away with, at least if it was somewhat insulting. They say, "Oh, you got a case, let's go for it." Ultimately, they just want to take her money, her lawyers, whoever,
Right.
whoever.
Well, I mean, obviously lawyers always get like 30-40%, but she's suing and she's saying, you cannot say anything bad about me or that I might be something. Basically, you're destroying my career somehow.
Do you have the clips of what the people have been saying that are getting sued?
Let's go to the Twitter thread, the news thread about this, and see if we can find any of them. Okay. Let's see. It's him talking about it. Let's watch him talk about it for a little bit. This is Elijah
Kash
Schaefer.
Patel's girlfriend, Alexis Wilkins. And the reason why might actually shock you. About a couple months ago, I posted this photo on the public social media platform X.
Okay.
I posted it with no caption, no suggestions of any malintent or any slander, defamation, or criticisms of character. I did so attached to an X post shared by another account that I'm not connected to that talked about government agents being compromised. Now Alexis Wilkins is saying that I owe her $5 million for damages, the exact evaluation of my company, and if I cannot come up with that money, that I'm going to have to shut down my business, give up all of my digital assets.
I've played these games.
Yeah, where we heard this? Where we heard this?
I've played these games before.
I wonder, and it makes a lot of sense that, to me, I look at the situation where Trump could easily step in. The DOJ, the FBI, they funded lawsuits against us. That renders them invalid. And really, they should have to pay us damages. They should have to pay Free Speech Systems, otherwise known as InfoWars. They should have to pay them damages. But watching this, I mean, that precedent is just so strong and so good that if someone says something that hurts the feelings really, really bad, you get to come in and take their whole company.
Look, Sandy walked so the Cash's girlfriend could run, man.
Yeah, no, that's a good point. I mean, this guy, he's built up this massive operation. He's got a good show over there at the Rift. I like the Rift TV guys over there. But he's built this whole thing. And they're like, no, we're going to take it from you because you said the bad thing. And it looks like he didn't even say the bad thing.
In order to pay her back. So why does Kash Patel's girlfriend want to silence me? Well, it comes down to the lawsuit itself. Before anyone jumps to conclusions and says, well, don't say that she's a honeypot, I'd like to say, I never did. I never would. I never felt like suggesting that, never even suggested that in my own head. So why am I being sued for something I never did? To give proof of that, in section 14 of the lawsuit, it states, while the defendant may not have included any caption to spell out the meaning of his post, he didn't have to. Ever since Kash Patel was appointed as director of the FBI in February of 2025, the conspiratorial corners of the internet and social media have been spreading false narratives about Miss Wilkins as an Israeli Mossad agent, spy, or quote, honeypot, who is only in the relationship with Kash Patel to spy on and manipulate the United States government. Defendant's wordless reply, it goes on to say. So to clarify, before we go any further,
wait,
if you post a public photo of a government,
he's not the only one who said this though. Do you know how many people I've seen cover this where like they're all like saying he's why him in particular?
You know where else that was the case? That was the case with us as well.
Yeah, your dad playing with fire, huh?
Yeah, I mean, like this is the playbook, guys, and like this was everywhere. And I mean, people have been saying way worse. So I just had ChatGPT do it, and I don't trust ChatGPT necessarily.
What does
but
it say?
It just told me that she's not an Israeli citizen and that there's no credible claim of her citizenship, and that in the lawsuit she states she's from here and XYZ and all that type of stuff. But the thing going around that I've seen it since Kash Patel was confirmed to be FBI director, was this little screen grab of like her PragerU profile, and on it said like a veteran of like Unit 8200. Now that may be fake, and
could be.
You know what? All that'll come out in discovery. That is the great thing about court, is that we'll get to see a lot of this stuff when this actually goes through. Of course, it'll be in years, because that's how this works. Also, is they keep you in court for years. And to me, that's the most damaging thing that's going to come out of all this. Elijah's now not just going to have to worry about growing the Rift and building his operation up. He's going to have to deal with the lawsuit. And I've seen the kind of toll that takes on a guy.
Lots of money. Yeah, but I mean,
he probably doesn't even have that much money, man.
And that's what I'm saying. That's actually, that's one of the reasons why people immediately go to suing, especially if you have money and you
Right.
want to attack somebody who doesn't have money, and you may, even if you don't have enough on them, you have just
You
enough
just
to pull
hurt
them
them
that,
bad
yeah,
in
you can just
court.
hurt them just enough by how much they have to pay in legal fees to defend themselves. You almost get the point across. That's
Right.
why I think I saw something like Chase said, if you like basically, if you don't, I'm losing my train of thought.
No, you're good.
If you don't win a case or you
Uh-huh.
get proven that your defamation is false, he went to the extreme. He said they should get death penalty.
Right.
But in this circumstance, I think there needs to be a penalty for, if you are suing somebody, you lose the case, or it's very clear that you didn't have. I think there's nuances.
I don't know.
I think it's nuances.
I don't know what the way to fix it would be. I would think it would be to raise the burden of proof a little bit. That would be what I would like to see, but we're never going to see that happen. I mean, the civil court system is really broken, and it may even be more broken than the criminal courts, just because of how frivolous they're able to be with the preponderance of evidence standard and all of that. But let's keep watching the clip and learn more about the story.
Official and his romantic partner, who he's not married to, a very important
Life
fact
partner,
we'll talk
yes.
about. You, as a private citizen or a member of the press, can be bankrupted, have your entire company shut down, or completely mocked, slandered, and dragged through lawfare because of what? Because of your First Amendment protected rights. Now, I believe that this lawsuit is not only an attack on our First Amendment and our constitutional rights given to us by God, but I believe this is also a violation of SLAPP ordinances. This seems to be a proxy lawsuit, if anything, from Kash Patel himself.
Yep.
And I have the evidence to prove it. We'll start here by talking about what is this lawsuit about and why is it so concerning. As I just read in the previous section, Alexis Wilkins states that I never said anything about her being a Mossad agent. So how am I being sued for saying anything about that? Considering I'm being sued for things I didn't say? Yeah, you heard that right. They're suing me for the implications based upon previous posts I had made on my X account, not about Alexis, not about Kash, but about the state of Israel. I take you to section 17 of evidence.
Ooh.
Defendant frequently posts anti-Israel rhetoric accusing Israel of controlling the United States and its politicians.
It's a crime.
In which they share a post.
It's a crime, and we're going to
There's
bankrupt
so
you
many
based on that.
thousands of accounts that are doing this, though. Why is he the target? I'm not understanding.
I mean, he has he's not no one. He's somebody. He's a political figure, and he's been selected to be punished.
They're like, your dad's
do it to set an example.
Well, they're like,
Yeah.
your dad's been milked enough, so let's just go after the next biggest fish.
And that's the thing. It's a mischaracterization. My dad wasn't even milked; he was destroyed. They was never about trying to get anything out of him. It's about making an example out of the person, so then you could point to the person like this guy who's a rising figure in alternative media and go, "Hey, you want to build your own operation? You want to do all this? That's great. But if you ever come against us or criticize us in any way, we're going to get you just like we got him." And that's what they do.
Yeah, and
That's how they build the culture. That's how they control it.
And she's like at home. She's like, Kash, do something. Go pull some of your resources and get this bad man because he said bad things about me.
I guess, but I mean, they're not even like real people. Like the thing that blows my mind is like she's this country music sensation. We look it up.
What sensation?
Look, we look it up. We Google it. We go on X. Only clips we can find are her singing the national anthem. And I saw a screen grab of her Spotify profile. She's got like 10,000 like monthly listeners, which is not bad.
That's terrible. And it's like basically SoundCloud rapper.
Dude, we love SoundCloud, right? It's pretty based. So, I mean, these people, they're mysterious. They're kind of like the image of what you want, but not the actual thing. Kind of like, like a cardboard cutout of a person. It's like, oh, this is a famous person. It's just two-dimensional cardboard. That's what a lot of these people are. And if you mess with that, if you poke at that, if you question that a little bit, you're gonna get smacked with a big old hammer, like what happened to old Elijah here.
He said Trump doesn't want to admit that Netanyahu doesn't fear him. Israel has more control over the USA than we do over them. Our politicians are hook, line, and sinker, sold out to the Jewish state of regime. It's genuinely disheartening, and we must remove these parasites from AIPAC. They also posted more evidence in the lawsuit, nothing to do with Alexis Wilkins, nothing to do with Kash Patel, and nothing to do with me saying anything about her being a Mossad agent. I never said it, so they don't have evidence. So why is it that they've made the entire lawsuit about my thoughts on the Israeli government? That's highly
Well, it's
suspicious.
simple. Whenever this court thing happens, what they're going to do is they'll wheel in 1 or 2 tweets of you talking about Alexis or retweeting it or whatever.
Or they'll find a video or clip of him saying something.
But before they show that, before they show like the scraps they have on you of you maybe talking about her one time, which last time I checked is not defamation, is not crime, is not illegal. They will instead wheel in probably like 300 tweets of this guy talking bad about Israel. Probably to like the most like Jewish judge possible,
right?
And then you're found liable, buddy. You're gonna have to pay the $5 million because you're a bad guy.
Can we quickly look up the definition of defamation as it pertains to the law?
Sure,
because
absolutely,
that is important for context.
Yeah, go ahead and talk a little bit while I do that.
Yeah, overall, maybe there. I always have a saying, like everyone has a saying where there's smoke, there's fire. I don't see him not having any sense of having said nothing. Like, of course, he's got to take that position because now he's being sued, but he had to have said something to piss her off. Like, you don't just piss somebody off for no reason. But the crime, put air quotations around that, does not justify the punishment of what she's trying to do.
Legally, defamation is a false statement of fact that harms another person's reputation and is communicated to a third party. It includes both libel, written statements, and slander, spoken statements, and a plaintiff must generally prove the statement was untrue, communicated to others, and caused damage to the reputation. Key elements of defamation: false statement of fact. Statement must be untrue and presented as a fact, not an opinion. For example, saying someone stole from the company is a statement of fact, while calling them not a very nice person is an opinion. So you're not allowed to have the opinion that the person might be a honeypot. You're not allowed to have that opinion.
Okay, so I think here's the nuance. You and I saying something is completely different because we don't have the same platform as somebody like him.
I disagree.
But I think the idea of defamation in general, and I'm not saying pertaining to just this case, but in general, if a person has the ability to have a big enough microphone, it can be considered as defamation because you have enough of an impact on the outside.
Yeah, but the thing is, causing damage to the reputation. I mean, like, oh, I tell someone, oh, Tim is a bad guy, and that person like doesn't like you now, and then you can sue them for X amount of money. No, you have to like lose your job.
I was gonna say there has to be something tied to it where like you lost an opportunity, like
right.
Let's say like you're Kanye and you
I'm sorry, I saw a post where you might be an agent, and I can't have Cash work for me anymore. It's true. It's true.
Yeah, no, I see. I see what you're saying. Yeah,
like she's totally fine. She's coasting. She's doing whatever. But let's see what else I got on this little subject here. This Elijah Schaefer tweet got the same lawsuit for the same amount of money from the same law firm as I got. The law firm is Banal Law, which is run by blah blah, who is also president of the Kash Foundation.
Ooh,
yeah.
Yep.
So
see, I told you, she's like, Daddy, help me.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Come on. At the point at which you have those levels of connection and that is your boyfriend, best believe she's going to ask him for help and damsel in distress.
Right. Well, I mean, I think they're like a Borg or just like a fused unit. I think they're both professionals working. That's my opinion. I just don't think they're necessarily working for us. That's what I believe. That's an opinion.
Hot take. Yeah, you got to distinguish that.
Oh, man. No. I need the 7,000.
Next week we're going
to
see
the wall.
You're going to get a piece of mail next week.
Yeah, I know. You said I wasn't a country music sensation. Yeah.
What else you got on here?
Just some text from the lawsuit. Defendant Kyle Seraphin has maliciously lied about Alexis Wilkins, falsely asserting that she, an American-born country singer, she asserts that, is an agent of foreign government assigned to manipulate and compromise the director of the FBI. Defendant, a former FBI special agent himself, who's now making a living as a podcaster and political commentator, profiting on controversy and outrage. See, they don't have a problem with it when Benny Johnson is doing it, or when DC Drano is doing it, or when like Insurrection Barbie is doing it. They don't have a problem with these people causing storms on Twitter and saying crazy things about like minorities.
Technically,
about the law.
At the fluff that this has created, can't like Fuentes go and like sue like a bunch of these people? Like
no, he can't. And see, that's the beauty of the system is these people, they're the lawyers that run the country. Yeah. So essentially, when you're the lawyers that run the country, you either know the politicians because you went to school with them, or you work for, or you have them work for you.
Yeah.
And that's like, when you have the money, these people, when you go to become the president of the United States or a senator or a congressman, you don't go and like, I'm an astronaut. I'm a firefighter. I want to be a congressman or a senator. No, you go to law school, you meet the right people, you figure out how to navigate the political system, good looking guy, girl, good head on your shoulders. I don't know,
go get your MBA at like a prestigious school where you bump shoulders with this guy's billionaire politician son.
Like that's how it works. That's how you run for office. And these same people that are in political office are the people that are in the law firms, and it's all one big club. You're not in it. And they know how to say, hey, like, we got just enough meat on the hook here that we can take this to court and make it horribly ugly for 4 or 5 years and just kill this person.
Yep.
And it costs us nothing. I mean, dude,
because he owns the firm, I think.
Dude,
right?
the law firm that sued Trump, they got hit with like a $40 million penalty. And I don't have that good a memory, so I can't recall the exact name of the firm. But they got hit with a $40 million penalty. They expensed a lot of that money as like pro bono work to like charitable causes, suing us. Because like, that's a charity, you see, to the Sandy Hook families who won a lawsuit for $73 million against Remington, who all had more money than we did. But see, it's charity to help them. But it's not even real. It's a completely fake story. It's absurd on its face, but they're able to go walk that up to a judge who's on the team, you know, on the good side. And the judge goes, okay, yeah, let's do this. And that's how they bankrupt people.
I would love to see some of these backdoor conversations, man. People are just
like
having nice drinks, you know?
Yeah, it's literally, it's the mafia. And that's how it works in this country. And when people think about organized crime, they think about like a gang member with like, oh no, not even like, I got a switch, bro, like, or something like that. They think about like, you know, like people like MS-13 or something. They think about this just in like the modern era, right? What the real organized crime is in the country is these bureaucrat class people that have these law degrees or PhDs, and they're in the halls and positions of power, or they have all the money and they know everyone. And then they can just break the law by using the legal system to break people.
Yeah.
Because who do you go to when the state has it in for you?
That's true.
Right.
And the only time that the people get prosecuted is when the situation is bad enough that the public knows about it, that you just have no choice but to take care of the situation. Because then you'll topple the whole house of cards at that point.
Yeah, it's not worth messing up the system. And that's what these people really care about, is they go, look, like, I was successful in this. My children and grandchildren can be successful in this, whether that's making money to feed the system or being inside the system, moving the levers. Like, we're in here. We're not going to move from this. I mean, you being from Connecticut, you've seen a lot of that old money and how those people live, right?
Old money, baby.
Those people are happy to live in Connecticut for the next 1,000 years, scamming Americans, like becoming political.
Careful, you might defame somebody.
No, I mean, at the entire state of Connecticut, you can't do that. It has to be specific. But like
Connecticut v. Jones.
We shouldn't even have to joke and worry about these things as Americans. I really believe that the burden of proof for defamation is way too low. And you should really have to specifically target someone with malicious intent for it to be
and you have to be able to prove damages.
Right. And like that's the thing, is like, how did she get hurt in any of this? They were mean to me on X. They hurt my feelings.
Yeah, and that's the part I don't understand about the monetary thing. I've always tried to really wrap my head around like how people get to these crazy ass numbers. You know, the $1 billion on your dad in InfoWars was just out to my fault. $2 billion. 2.5. Oh, it just keeps going up. This is beautiful. But like, how do you come to the conclusion that that's the amount? When I think about damages, I'm like, okay, I hurt something.
I think it's whatever number makes them laugh the hardest. Like, yeah, let's do $1 billion. No, let's do 2. No, let's do 2.5.
Yeah, but how do you prove that that's it has to be equal to equal?
It's just like the healthcare thing that we talked about on Sunday, where they get to make up whatever they want for whatever treatment. That's how the American system works. They go, look, It's the free market. So you can just charge whatever you want in the legal sense, in the financial sense, all of it. It's all done the same way. And once you start to understand these things, it becomes very laughable. And we don't want to be black pill on here. We want to be white pill. We want to talk about the future and, working together with other countries and fixing things here on the show. We talk about that a lot in the gray area. But when you realize how fundamentally broken the American system is, how screwed up it is on so many levels, and it's all done the same way, it's all just grifting, right?
I will say though, I would rather take even the somewhat dysfunctional system that we have now than live in another country that doesn't even have these in place. There are certain countries that don't even have even like a sense of a judicial system or just bureaucracy of system, that where like you and I know that you're not just going to go out there, clock me in the face because I can sue you for that. Right. But like there's other countries where it's like, well, if that happens, you got to take that outside and take care of that. There's such a backlog of cases for specific things that you can't get through the system in order to actually get the justice you need. So I'll say I would rather take the somewhat dysfunctional, but I think it still is functional when it doesn't come to defamation. But in general, I would still take this over some of the other countries.
Well, and here's the thing. I would take it over all the other countries basically on the planet, because if you look at it, America was this place that revolutionized governmental systems across the world, right? And everyone kind of tried to imitate our thing after we showed that, hey, like having a king is maybe not the best idea.
Yeah.
Right. So we imported, especially after the world wars, we imported a lot of our culture all over the world. Right. And these other countries like the UK, like other places like that have, Australia, Western countries, you'd call them Western, but they've had these crazy free speech crackdowns and censorship law and police brutality and all sorts of stuff like this. We were supposed to be the example to those people. We were supposed to tell those people to stop it, but we've fallen so much here. It's gotten so bad. If we don't fix it here, like we have to fix it here. I guess we agree on this, right?
Yep.
Like we have to, and that's what we can't be black pill. It's just when the system's broken on so many levels, this is how these people make money. The lawyer makes like 40% of the purse, basically.
Yeah. There are very rich lawyers,
incredibly rich.
Yeah. I'm sure at some point it was a little bit more affordable, but again, over time, when you're told, oh, well, this is the option for you to go and handle this.
Right.
That becomes like, okay, now we can make money off of that because we've basically made it clear that if you don't like what somebody says, go and sue them. Right. And they've created the blueprint for that. So, yes, we are going to be open to the phones. Second hour.
And maybe a little bit even beyond that, because Tim's got a subject he wants to talk about.
We'll do like a little breakdown of the shutdown. That's really what's going to happen after Rex got one more other thing to cover. Yeah. But I want to inform people on like the details of the government shutdown now that it's in talks of having a resolution passed Congress. So yes, we will be open to the phones to answer that question.
Right. I still want to talk about this for a little bit though. I mean, you imagine the behavior of these people and they go, look, we're going to screw Americans over forever. We're going to sue them forever.
Who's they? I just want to.
We talked about the lawyers.
Oh, okay.
The bureaucratic class, the fourth branch of government that actually runs the country. We're just going to sue these people forever. We're going to keep riding it until the wheels fall off. No one's ever going to be able to stop us. And look, no one ever will. And the thing that's so important about the Alex Jones precedent and what was said against us is you can just render them guilty by default if they don't give you all the evidence that you that you demand that they give you that doesn't exist. They requested like 13 million documents and all sorts. They give you an impossible task and then say, okay, you're in default judgment. You owe $1 gazillion. I'm sadly pretty certain that they're going to do the same thing to Elijah and that it's really going to hurt his operation. And I pray for his operation. I want his operation to do great. He doesn't deserve this, but unfortunately, you can't fight these people. And even my dad, who was selling, tens of millions of dollars a year in supplements, all that went into legal bills. He couldn't even fight the people forever.
I have a question. So if I know the default judgment was like one of the biggest things, let's say like some magical situation happens where he was able to present everything. Do you think he would have beat the case?
He'd have a lot higher chance. And even if he lost the thing is, he was rendered in default. He still had the jury trial. The jury trial was to decide how guilty he was, and he wasn't allowed to present any of his own financial information.
And just so people understand,
well,
default trial, explain that.
We talked about that. I just went into that, but we'll go into it again. But just to be clear, just to finish the point I'm making here, the thing that was really screwed up about our trial, besides the Sandy Hook and all this stuff, if you just step away from it for a second, they had a guy go on the stage and say my dad personally was worth $300 million. My dad's never had $10 million, right? Probably had more than 5, never had 10. And the thing is, when you say that sort of thing, and the person is in default and they're not allowed to defend themselves, present their tax returns or their financial information, you have the jury there, so it's still a jury trial. The jury's going to rule based off that number. And we were never allowed to financially defend ourselves with the actual documents. So that's what was screwed up about our case. And that's the hill I will die on. And to talk about your point, like what does being put in default mean? They requested, I believe it was like 13 million emails from us and all sorts of other things like this that are basically impossible to find within like a very short, like 2-week time period.
Yeah.
And then they go, oh, you don't have it default.
Yeah. It's basically defaulting to like, you're guilty. That's how that works.
Right. So it's funny though, that even after they declare that you're liable or guilty, liable in a civil sense, they then go and say, but you still get to have the jury trial to decide just how guilty you are.
Yeah.
And like at that point, just like take a long walk off a short cliff because you're cooked anyway, right? You might as well just end it soon because they're just going to railroad you. And at the end of the day, I think my dad did really well, and I think he fought really hard. And I think InfoWars and everyone on the crew fought really hard. And we basically got the absolute best case scenario out of any type of situation like this. And it was only because of the size of the operation and the skill of the people working there. I'm not sure Elijah has the same assets, the skill side, of course, but on the sheer size, a lot of InfoWars got burned off.
Well, talk about the psychological impact, because the thing is when you're going into, these trials, it can't be an easy process to be defending yourself for something.
No, well, now he's got a lawyer. He's not just thinking about his show. He's thinking about the lawyer. He's on phone calls. He's thinking about motions and different discoveries trying to prove his case. And, their case is so extraordinarily weak. If all they have is him retweeting and they're going to rely on his tweets against Israel. I mean, maybe he does have a chance. And I hope he does. I'm not trying to be negative here. I'm not trying to be Lord Blackpill. But at the end of the day, these people have a lot of money. A lot of money.
Well, not just that. You're talking about director level of the FBI. So
right, a lot of money, a lot of influence. That's very bad. But hey, look, I'm tired. Tim, you are a sexist, a racist, and a bigot because you do not appreciate her singing. All right.
Oh, is this her song?
Look, you can't tell me that if you were at the airport.
Let's hear it. I've never heard her sing.
But really quick, if you were at the airport and you were experiencing, like a 12-hour wait for a flight that was supposed to be there because our government shut down, the air traffic controllers aren't getting paid, so they left, and you're down in the dumps and you're angry and you're mad and you're like, damn, I missed my flight. And they're not going to send another one for like half a day. You're telling me if she gets up to the mic and starts singing the national anthem, there's not going to be a smile on your face. You're not going to be praising Donald Trump and thanking your country.
Shut up.
Dude, it would make me proud to be an American.
I want to get defeated.
Yeah, we got to be quiet. Look at the boomer. Oh, we shouldn't mock the national anthem. We shouldn't mock it.
That's what he's doing.
Yeah. All right. Well, look, this is apparently like a global sensation, pop star, country music, blah blah, whatever. I don't really see it. Just one more and entertain me. One more.
Is this another?
This is just her yapping about herself.
So Alexis, what are you doing here? Why are you at this event? Why was it important to you?
So I am here because I am singing the national anthem and we're doing a show after the amazing speakers, but I love Independent Women's Forum and Our Bodies, Our Sports whole program and organization because it is so much further than even sports. I mean, sports are a huge issue, keeping biological men out of women's sports. It not only is dangerous.
See, she's just working the program.
Locker rooms, it's dangerous on the
Was she
field,
famous before him?
No, no one knows who this person
but
is.
it's also just, it's anti-common sense, and that's something that I think everyone's working really hard to combat right now. So I'm so excited to
Probably
be here,
reptilian.
and it goes beyond sports, and like I said, it's something that anything that's not commonsensical, we need to be fighting right now. And so
Okay, that's enough.
How did he even pull her? I mean, she's not.
I mean, we're not allowed to say that. We're not allowed to. When
Hey.
Kanye's saying I'm not supposed to say that, where he goes, well, I'm not supposed to say.
I guess this is what I'll say.
And what am I doing here?
Yeah, we're not allowed to talk about it. But, that's an interesting story. We're going to cover more of it. I'm going to do more of a deep dive. Maybe I'll talk
What's
to
the next thing
Elijah.
you got?
There's nothing cooler than seeing, old rivals patch it up. So y'all may know the new president of Syria, former ISIS and Al Qaeda leader by the name of al-Julani, but he's changed his name to al-Shara. And, he's gone to the UN. He's visited the site where the Twin Towers fell.
He used to be part of Al Qaeda.
He used to be a leader.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
He used to be a leader.
Yep.
But see, the thing is, in Islam,
After 9/11, that's what he wants you to make.
in Islam, here's the thing: you shave your mustache when you have a beard, right?
Yep.
We all know this. He goes in to the United States prison camp for 5 years. He comes out in a beard and a suit. And he comes straight to us, and he's the new leader. He's our new best pal. But look, he's playing back. This guy's beheaded thousands of people, and he's given orders to kill tens of thousands of people. And he's plotted against the United States of America. Oh, but he's our buddy. Oh, look at
Jordan.
that. Look at the
Kobe.
the 3-pointer.
Kobe.
Oh no. Oh no.
Look at them getting the music in the background.
There's dimes.
I can't believe what I'm seeing. Dude, old Bush would roll over in his grave.
No, I mean, this is always the final goal, right? It's this is a dictator that we control. See, they're very specific about not wanting any secular governments remaining in the Levant, in the Middle East. This is the perfect guy because he's a radical Muslim that follows the specific radical form of Islam that we created and spoon-fed these people.
You know why they're doing this? Because they think by treating him at the same level of equality, they think they can control him after this. It's a psychological thing because they think he's the one that's going to be able to control Syria. Who even knows how long that lasts? You don't think all the other fractions of the Syrian, like they've been in civil war for like a super long time. It's only a matter of time before like the rebellion happens again and the whole clock restarts and we've got to instill a new person,
I don't know. I think we're going to do a pretty good job running it. Yeah, I think he's the right guy, man. Like, this is the new Osama bin Laden. You got to keep in mind, Osama bin Laden was our friend for many years.
Yeah.
Right. So, like, I'm sure this guy, the thing we always do as a country is we always turn on whoever we install. So it's not even them fucking up. It's us getting like impatient, like wanting it to get better. We turn on them and they fight for power to stay alive.
Right.
This is what happened with Saddam. Like, Saddam Hussein was basically created and raised to wage war on Iran. Because Iraq, Iran, they're right next to each other, right? Yep. Millions of Iranians died during that war, right? And that's why he had the weapons, and they say the chemical weapons and all this stuff. Everything that Saddam had, we gave it to him. And then we went in there to take him out.
Once he wasn't playing the way that we wanted him.
Exactly. So, like, this is what America does as a country. This is our foreign policy. And they look at this guy like, whoa, you're tall like Osama bin Laden? And we taught you how to speak English.
Good boy.
Yeah, literally. Like, this is just a creation. And look at this guy. This is like a CENTCOM commander or something, I'm assuming. I'm not sure if that's the guy, but he's in the clip. This guy, like, probably fought against him and shit.
Yeah.
And like,
that's so true.
And like, now they're my buddy, you got the 3-pointer.
All right. So let's take the macro view from this, right? Like, how do you, let's say the whole point is like, we want to have some stability in that region, correct?
Right.
How do you end a negative feedback loop? Because at the end of the day, most of the issues are caused that somebody committed a crime, they got angry, they got upset, they retaliated, and then it's just a nice little cycle. technically, if you want to look at it, and I'm not defending this guy by any means, he was a murderer, but like this would be kind of what you would have to do in order to stop that negative feedback loop of the killing. I mean, but like I didn't think they were going to bring him onto American soil and do that. You could still do that from all the way across the world.
He was in the White House.
Yeah,
he was in
taking
the White
pictures
House.
in front of New York City. It's like, dude, you know, those two towers aren't there anymore.
There's a couple interview clips I'm looking for, but really quick, I'm looking for this one clip. But I mean, on the 250th anniversary of the Marine Corps founding, on that day, Trump is like, we're going to bring him in. We're going to bring Osab 2.0 in, and he's going to be great. He's going to stand behind the desk and do everything.
I wonder what the military people think about this.
I mean, they can't like it. I can't imagine they would, especially the veterans. I mean, the
ones that were involved.
Yeah. I mean, the people like currently serving that don't have like history on this or don't like remember this time period too well.
Yeah.
I'm
Could
sure.
you imagine though, like during the time where like he's fighting America, the type of conversations he would have about America and what he felt and his true intentions about it? You can't just glaze over that.
Right.
You know? What are you looking for here?
I'm looking for some clips, and I don't know why it's so hard. Just keep talking for just
no, but it just blows my mind that it only took 25 years for America to get amnesia about everything that happened. Because here's the thing: if you go back to 2001, this is one of those things that, like, if you were to ask a typical American of that time, or even if you go to like 2005. They'd be like, this would be unspeakable. There's no way we would do something like this. But then, fast forward 25 years, this is what we have. We completely forgot about everything that happened. And who even knows what his true intentions are at the end of the day? Now, I don't want to get sued.
He wants to get rich.
Yeah, but like that's what I'm saying. Like maybe he's like, oh, well, if I have America on my side, they take me legitimate, and I just want to be I want to have power. And I want to rule this country. But the real question is, do the people of Syria want him in power? That's the thing I don't actually know the answer to. That's the thing I don't understand.
Well, I'm looking for clips of him, and I've seen a ton of great clips for him, but let's see what this guy was saying when he's still dressing like a Muslim.
والله هي سبحان الله مأساة فلسطين يعني مهما تعرض المسلمين لمآسي وبرا.
And this isn't referring to the current conflict, guys. This has been going on for decades.
فلسطين لكن
This is an old clip.
فلسطين هي تشعر أن هي يعني تذكرنا على الدوام أن هي بوصلة المسلمين، هي بوصلة تحرير المنطقة يعني. لأنه هي مأساة عمرها صار أكثر من 100 سنة. ولكن سبحان الله الشعب لا يزال صابر، لا يزال يعني اشتغلوا على الشعب الفلسطيني بكل أنواع التهجير، قتل، إبادة، لعب في الأفكار، ثقافات، كل هذا حاولت أن تنزع رغبة يعني أهل فلسطين بالعودة إلى بلادهم، أو تنزع رغبة المسلمين، تيأسهم من الحديث عن القضية الفلسطينية. لكن يقدر الله عز وجل كل فترة، كل عقد، يعني في العقد الواحد مرتين أو 3 تحدث أحداث يتذكر فيها المسلمين أهمية هذه القضية وأهمية وأن هي
He's clearly a very smart guy. That's what I take from that. He's well spoken,
strategic.
He's calm. He's personable. This is all stuff that we know. But I wasn't able to find the clips that I was trying to find. That's because I got here a little late today. Let's go ahead and get into your stuff, Tim.
Okay.
Ready?
Yeah. So this one's going to be about the government shutdown. As you guys know, and I'm sure you guys have seen the news, we are ending the government shutdown tentatively. Everything has not been passed yet as of right now. Only thing that has been passed right now is the Senate. So let me give you a quick overview. So 43 days, that's how long this shutdown has lasted. Technically, even if they take a couple more days, this might turn out to be like 45 days. Still the longest shutdown by far. And then you need the 60-40 vote. They basically convinced 8 Democrats to move over and basically vote on this issue, to vote in favor of what the Republicans wanted of this new bill. And what's crazy? The Democrats are pissed. The ones that were like really true and blue, they didn't like this at all, guys.
No, they wanted it to keep going on because they were like, we're getting to them. We're doing something. And they were. 100%.
100%.
100% they were.
Right. So now, I mean, after you get the 60-40 vote, they got the 60 exactly. You had 52 Republicans, you had 8 Democrats, and then now this bill is going to head to the House of Representatives, where the Republicans already hold a majority. It's not the same as the Senate, where you need that 60-40 split. So that just means that more than likely, yes, the bill will get passed. Then it'll go from the House, and then it'll go immediately to Trump's desk, and he will sign this off.
You know, interesting little thing that's in that bill. They are banning all of the the farm bill loophole with the THC stuff.
Really?
That's in there as well.
Yeah, there's like 300 pages.
That's what they do. They pass these giant omnibus packages.
Right.
They put everything in
and you
it.
stuff in little things here and there that people have to go and fine tune. And especially if you're trying to rush it.
Right.
I'm sure all these people try to put it in ChatGPT and be like, give me the breakdown of this. But overall, what you need to know, what's inside the deal, it isn't actually a full year budget. Okay. It's a temporary funding measure, guys. It's called a continuing resolution, a CR. They call it a clean CR, but it basically just keeps the government moving in order for for them to just get things going.
When the corpse falls over, they just like hit it with bats until like a Frankenstein's monster.
Exactly.
Like, please stop. Like, no, eat the money, like stay alive.
So with this continuing resolution, here are some of the details. I didn't know about this THC loophole.
There's a ton of other stuff in there.
Basically, this spending only goes until January 30th of 2026. By January 30th of 2026, which is about 2 months from now, guys, we will be seeing the same battle play out. Now, let's go into a little bit of the details of what's in this.
And by then, the Obamacare will...
Yeah, so you've got military, construction, veterans affair. They're covering hospitals, benefits, defense infrastructure, Department of Agriculture and the FDA ensuring food inspections, farm programs, and nutrition remain stable. You've got legislative branch, so they're keeping Congress fully operational until the next fiscal year. And then there's also several worker protections and stabilizers. So you've got like the back pay for unemployed. For the unemployed federal employees, you've got the ban on mass layoffs by federal agencies. And then you've got reimbursement of the states who had been paying into these programs. And then you also had additional money for the Indian Health Services and security upgrades for Congress and the federal courts. Now, the biggest sticking point of this entire thing, and we broke it down on the last episode, it was Obamacare. Okay. For people who need a slight refresher, I won't dive very deep into this, but essentially the Affordable Care Act, Obamacare, same thing. It all came down to one thing, and it was the Republicans wanted to go back to the old way Obamacare used to function. In the old way, there was a cliff in which certain amount of people, as soon as you made over a certain amount of money threshold, even $1 after, you completely lost the benefits. Democrats wanted to keep the new version that Biden had moved into in 2021 and was set to expire in 2025. And that new spending bill basically created no cliff at that time period, and people were getting subsidies to help pay for their medical care. And that's kind of the gist of what was happening.
If you're husband and wife and you both make $45,000 or more a year, you're going to pay around $22,000 a year.
So the number, I'll give you the numbers. So the numbers is like, okay, everything goes around the federal poverty level. That number is about 21,000. Basically, if you've got a couple that is making 90,000 a year, that puts them at 400% above the poverty level. And with the subsidy, essentially that couple was getting a pretty big subsidy where they only had to pay around like $600 a month. As soon as the Republican goes back to the old version,
$2,200,
it goes up to $1,800 a month. Boom. Immediate increase. And so that is what the Democrats are very upset about, and they did not like that at all. But in this particular package, the Obamacare is not being addressed really. The Republicans are promising that you know, they were basically stonewalling, man. They were like, we're not going to move on this issue until you just pass this resolution. We'll figure it out afterwards. You know, put air
They're
quotations
not going to do
around.
anything.
But the whole thing was, is they were like, that's actually the reason why those 8 Democrats moved over, because they were like, dude, they're not going to vote on this.
Right.
They're not going to actually move the needle, and we're going to get deeper and deeper into this problem. So we might as well just go and vote. And that's what made some of the true blue Democrats very upset in the circumstance. So they're not voting on really the issue surrounding Obamacare. They did say in this bill, though, that they are going to vote by the second week of December on whether they're going to extend those ACA subsidies. Okay. But in reality, the issue hasn't changed, like you had just said. It's
Right.
most likely that that is going to go and fail. But one of the reasons why they extended it to January 30th is because that gets us outside of that travel holiday season. Okay. Let's pull
First,
some of the videos. Yeah, let's just watch this one of what was starting to happen when all this shutdown was happening. This is the Sean Duffy. He's a transportation secretary. He's in charge.
Pete Buttigieg's replacement, and then he's talking to Jake Tapper.
Yeah.
Well, I paid experienced controllers to stay on the job and not retire. I used to have about 4 controllers retire a day before the shutdown. I'm now up to 15 to 20 a day are retiring. So it's going to be harder for me to come back after the shutdown and have more controllers controlling the airspace. So this is going to live on in air travel well beyond the time frame that this government opens back up.
Yes,
So
pause that.
So you can't fly.
That is that is a huge thing. Okay, so yes, we had shut down 10% of the air travel at the biggest 40 major airports. Luckily, Austin wasn't affected, but even if you have a layover, you'll still be affected. Even if you go through like Atlanta or you go through Dallas. But overall, what he said at the end is super important, guys. Just because they've made a deal now and they've passed this resolution does not mean that the issue is over.
Right.
Because when you have a guy that retires, he's gone. That doesn't mean he's coming back. That means I'm going to go take my pension. I'm going to go relax because I don't want to have to deal with that. And a TSA controller, it takes a while to train these people. Guys, you're talking about one of the most critical jobs in the United States that requires a lot of diligence, a lot of focus, a lot of concentration. And imagine trying to do that job while you know you're not getting your money and you're not even being able to support your family.
100%.
And you're stressed out and you're hearing all these things on the news. I wouldn't blame them.
And do we want those people to be in that position? The people that control where the planes land and where they take off and the airspace and all that. No, we don't want those people to be stressed out. And it's so stupid to me that, you know, we've entered into a realm of such degradation with our technology that we're like, hey, we don't have people to run this. People that are qualified are quitting. What are we going to do about it?
Right.
You know, like we're going to figure it out. We're not even going to pay them. You know, like it should be a matter of national security. To me, I was thinking, and like obviously this isn't what we want, but shouldn't the military, you know, be involved at a certain level, or National Guard?
Level? What do you mean?
National Guard? I mean, like you're going to need skilled engineer, technician type people, right? And
but when you say should they be involved to like help out with the TSA people, or you're saying like
not TSA?
What are you talking?
The air traffic specifically. I know you're talking about TSA here, but with the air traffic controllers, I just like. We don't have enough of those people. That needs to be prioritized, in my opinion.
I mean, well, they're finding difficulty. You know, even before this, the industry on the air traffic controllers was already strained as it was, because those guys go through a high level of stress. And if you guys have noticed, the delays have been increasing across the board. I don't know when the last time you've flown out, but in general, there's
November.
In general, the whole ecosystem of transportation and especially the aviation, tons of issues been going on there with delays and things like that. And it's because there's so much traffic and you're not increasing the capacity to handle all that traffic. But the reason why they passed this bill was literally not because of the SNAP benefits, because people were starving. It was literally because of this was the number one issue. It was the fact that you had a lot of people that were getting really pissed off, and you were starting to affect not just Average
Yeah,
people.
people that are important fly a lot.
Yes, you're going to
That's the
start
problem.
affecting rich people.
Yeah.
And I imagine who's on the phone who doesn't have the private jet, whose flight got canceled, was like, you guys better figure this out. So ultimately, this was one of the main reasons. Now,
Bernie Sanders flies. I've seen him at the airport. I've seen him at LAX.
Oh, yeah. Was that the video where you
Right.
guys go up?
Right. But like the point is like these people, especially politicians, they do fly commercial.
Yeah,
So
they fly commercial all the time. And so yeah, that is the number one reason. Now, let me see what else I have here.
do you want to play this clip real quick while you look?
Yeah, go ahead. Oh yeah, this is the one.
This will carry on with the point that Tim's making.
Come back to work.
And it's muted?
Yeah.
Or it's just really quiet.
So to be clear,
No, it's muted.
anywhere from
Go ahead,
20
Tim. Just keep talking. I'll figure it out.
Okay. So with this, basically like we had read in the bill, you got to get back pay. So I think what he's trying to say is that 70% of the air traffic controllers will receive their pay within 48 hours. That's one of the things that they passed in 2019, by the way, is everybody who needed to get back paid or who didn't get paid. It used to be it probably took longer. In this
so to be
circumstance,
clear, anywhere from 24 to
The audio is just messed up with that specific clip, I think. Because let's see if this one works. Yeah.
okay, it's just that one.
Yeah.
No worries.
Go ahead.
But ultimately, they passed the bill in like 2019 after the first time that the government shut down. Essentially, this new law states that the government and I think I have a post that's pulled up. Let's go to the article.
The Yahoo article.
Yes. Next one. Okay, yeah. So this 2019 law, can you read this for us?
Under the 2019 law, workers who miss paychecks during a lapse in federal funding must be paid retroactively as soon as the shutdown ends. So they get the big pay chunk right there and then. It directs agencies to issue back pay at the earliest date possible after lapse and appropriations ends, regardless of how scheduled pay dates. That's what happened after the 2018 to 19 shutdown. In prior shutdowns, back pay has been paid at the earliest date possible after appropriations have been passed, regardless of scheduled pay dates. So they just give them the money.
Yeah, because the thing is imagine they're like, technically payday was Friday. You've got to wait another 2 weeks.
Right.
That's how it used to be, is like we got to stay on schedule. But when they came out with this law, this is a win, guys. This one's a win. This law, whoever came out with this one, props to you, because this was a very good one. But 48 hours, you get your money, you get your back pay. That should provide immediate relief. And then here's the thing. Economists estimate from this shutdown, we've already cut 0.8% of fourth quarter GDP, which is about $55 billion lost in output. That's a lot of money, guys. So the thing is like the damage is already done. And all we did was kick the can down the road in this circumstance. One thing we can also still cover is the SNAP benefits. Let's pull up the Yahoo article. So with SNAP benefits, I know people were wondering about this one. So if the government reopens, SNAP is refunded, the payment should resume as normal, but there is delays and there are confusions. And also, by the way, it depends on state to state. Not all of them will get it at the exact same time. If your state is very good at this, you'll probably get it sooner.
I heard someone use EBT at Randall's today, but it may have been money there.
But they could have already had money. But it depends on, I know Texas is one of the ones that's going on the faster side to get these reinstated to people. But ultimately, SNAP benefits are going to come through. I know there was that whole thing going back between the Supreme Court and the partial payments and all that stuff that was going to be, put through the court system and the judicial branch going back and forth. But again, going back to the macro level argument, January 30th, this same issue will come up. And even before then, they are going to have to debate about this 2 weeks into December. That's just a month from now. Now, Rex, do you think our politicians are going to be able to get their act together?
No, I think they're going to go on Christmas vacation and it'll still be unsolved. And then we'll come back about this again in the new year. The added thing of the subsidies being taken away on the Obamacare front. So it'll be a giant, huge mess. And, I think it really bodes poorly for the Trump administration because, you can say he's only been there a little while. You got to give him a chance. Come on. But it's been a year and the wars are getting out of control. The inflation is getting out of control. And now the government itself is shutting down because, the money printer, they're having to run it for all these things like Ukraine, all these things that we're having to pay for overseas and our military to boot. And they're going to have to find some more cash, right?
Just print it.
Find some more.
That's what happens. You just print it.
But hey, that inflation's going to go up, and all the talk of Biden and whatnot. I could see us at 5% inflation at some point next year.
Well,
I think it could happen if we go to war.
If we go to war,
we have to deal with this as well. You see what I'm saying?
That's true. The crunch on the economy that comes from war is never a good thing, guys.
Right.
It ends up having and messing up a lot of the infrastructure and the back end.
Well, it's good if you own Raytheon stock and stuff, and that's what matters to the leaders in our country. So I think it is good.
It's insane, and I'm seeing I'm seeing some things that he's trying to do as some wins, and I'm like, okay, I see what you're trying to go here. You've got the 50-year mortgage.
Right.
That's one of the things that we're seeing.
Oh, dude. Dude, let's go get our 50-year mortgage. Like you're chilling with the boys, you're having a White Claw, you're sitting on the couch. Dude, let's go get a 50-year mortgage, man. Like, it's so insane. Like, what are you going to pay, like 70% debt basically off of that?
Yeah. Okay. So let's break this down a little bit. I am pretty big on real estate, but when it comes down to this,
I'm the best. I'm the best.
The very
best properties. Yeah.
Now, me and my business partner, we definitely have some opposing views in certain aspects to this 50-year. If you're an investor, it makes a little bit more sense in the way that he broke it down for me. It made sense. Like, if you were to get a 50-year loan, let's say as an investor, it would make your monthly payment lower in theory, right? And technically you have an appreciating asset, which would be increasing over time, even though technically you're paying debt, but somebody's paying your mortgage and paying your rent anyways, right? You're not living out of that house. So it's like you have
right, but you're speaking about it from a business.
That's a business, but the average
make money. Someone living,
but an average as an average person, this is not a good idea. And let me explain that.
But really quick, you see how all the goodies and the favors that we get, like the good things that Trump does. We hear about this all the time. My dad talks about it all the time. He goes, look, Trump's doing good stuff. The good stuff he does is in order for people that are worth a little bit of money or understand the system to be able to grift harder.
Yeah. I mean,
like, come on.
And here's the thing. So when you make a loan, okay.
Right.
The 30-year is something that was not always a thing, and it became the standard. Like over 90% of home loans now in the United States are literally 30-year fixed mortgages because that's the normal thing. But there's like a bunch of things you can get. You can get a variable rate. You can get a 15-year mortgage where you're going to be paying more, but 30 has been the standard overall. Okay. And so that is what like the banks have built around. The whole system has been built around this 30-year. Okay. When you increase that to 50 years, okay, when you increase it to 50 years, what ends up happening is that loan becomes more risky. And the reason why it becomes more risky is because there's a lot more unknown factors. And the longer you hold on to a debt, the riskier it becomes. So what mortgage companies do is when you have an increased loan, it typically leads to a larger interest rate because they want to get paid more money up front for having more of a risky loan that lasts longer. Normally, if you get a 15-year mortgage, you're going to get a lower interest rate than you would as a 30-year. So I see people making the macro argument as just regular people they're like, oh, well, if I get the same 6.5% loan I have right now, and then I extend it into 50 years, I can technically get a cheaper principal on my mortgage. Well, that's true if you're saying it's the same 6.5 and 6.5, but imagine that 6.5 becomes 7.5 because that loan is riskier. Now you've increased the interest rate, and that actually increases your monthly payment. You could actually be paying the same, if not more, potentially, when you go through the specifics of the numbers.
Well, I mean, look, seems to me like you rent, you're paying the landlord. why not just graduate to paying the bank? Just pay the bank rent.
Well, this would be a scenario where you would die and that debt would go to your kids after 50 years.
Ooh, that's even better. Oh man, that's even sweeter. We gotta have that.
Yeah,
we gotta have
like
that.
here's the thing. Let's say you're already like in your 40s. You get a 50-year mortgage and you refinance that baby. It's like, dude, okay, you might live to 90, but like the chances that you're gonna be, most people hold on to houses for only 12 years, by the way.
Right.
So that's how I feel. The one that's really, really stupid, and don't ever do this, guys, is the 15-year car loan. I don't even understand.
That's insane.
I don't even understand.
Yeah, I'm gonna be driving this in almost 2 decades.
Look, if you're talking about depreciating assets, at least a house is like offsetting the cost. A car is like, that is the worst thing you can do, because I already have an issue with people getting 8. It's already gone up to 8 now.
Right.
You can get an 8-year loan, even though your car might not even last that long.
Do you own your vehicle? You make a payment?
I make my payment. I used to own a vehicle. Then I decided, you know what? I don't want to pay a lump sum, and it makes more strategically for me to have
more
a car
flexibility.
loan. Exactly. Because then you can use that money. You have that capital. You can go invest it rather than just giving it to the bank and having them and basically having it sit in a depreciating asset. But that's like the entrepreneur. Not everybody has to do that way. The average person is typically just going to go and get a nice little loan.
30-year car.
15.
30-year. That's what I'm advocating for it. We need it now. We need it now. I think Trump was actually hinting at that. I think he.
No. 30 would be absolutely nuts.
I swear I saw.
I've seen the 15. I've seen the idea of the 15. Don't ever do that, guys. I literally would go and slap you silly if I'll go find you. I'll go into your car dealership.
Yeah, Tim's angry. He's upset.
I'll go to your car dealership right as soon as you're about to sign that paper and slap you silly, because you'll be under on that car note by the time you end up paying that.
Right.
Yeah, it doesn't make any sense. But I think we should start taking some calls pretty soon.
Yeah, we should. You want to set that up, and I'll take some comments here, and I'll go ahead and read them. So, what up, Info Ninjas? Hey, T-Blat, how are you doing tonight?
Let me know when you want to scroll.
Anything over 4 years on a car is nuts. Yeah, I agree.
Sometimes it makes sense to go 5. 5 is like the average. 6, you can get away with it. But like, I would anticipate you should just pay that off earlier if you can.
Alabama cut off most, referring to the EBT, going to take 6 weeks from what a customer told me today. Everyone is going to have to be reevaluated. Just what I heard. Very interesting.
That would suck.
That's awful. That's awful.
You want me to scroll?
Yeah, if you would. All right, that's fine. Shutdowns reveal the cracks in the machine. Very true, Samantha. Very true. Did Obama get recommended to the DOJ by the DNI Tulsi Gabbard, Rex? Tim? I don't know. I don't understand the question. Did Obama get recommended like for indictment? I don't know. Like, I don't think they're going to touch Obama. Obama was the president. And like what we've seen is like, if you're the president's wife, you're Hillary Clinton, even if you're a senator, they leave you alone. And like, they're all criminals. They're all complicit in the same stuff. It doesn't matter, Democrat, Republican. It really is. It's 2 wings on the same bird, man. But like, that's 100% the truth. Let's go America. Agree. Let's go America. They could go back to paper books of food stamps to reduce the fraud in EDT rackets. Please scroll up a little bit. Okay. I'm a vet. This is disgusting. Referring to Al Julani. What's up, Sky? Butchered hundreds of Christians, thousands of Christians, Muslims too. The Muslims he didn't like, and Alawites and Druze. Leader of Al Qaeda, and Trump treats him like gold. Yeah, I mean, like, hey, he's playing basketball at the White House. I mean, I bet Trump would let him screw his sister.
You are now in the host room and can manage your callers from the call-in studio web interface.
All right, keep going.
You scroll up a little bit.
Sorry.
It's a real professional show.
All right, keep going.
Here, scroll up a little bit more. Okay. You're fine. You scroll down. Sorry.
Too far.
All right. Any dog camp tonight? Yeah, I think he's at.
Whoa! This is the best angle you guys have gotten.
His name or he'll wake up.
This is the best angle that you guys have gotten of him up till now.
We'll look at Rupert for a little while.
He's actually behaving tonight.
Abortion of justice. I agree. You gonna open the phones? Yeah, we're about to do that. Lawsuits still take a lot of money. Yeah, I mean, I'll talk about that for a little bit while we work on stuff here.
We're good.
It's so crazy to be able to just take someone to court forever without any, you don't have to prove your case really. If you have the money, you can just sue someone with like the barest thread of anything proving the legitimacy of your case. I mean, there should be a verification process of legitimacy. There should be something, I believe, in raising the evidence standard. At the end of the day, they're going to take Elijah for a ride. They're going to get a lot of time and money out of him. And like, even if he wins, right? So there's a root. Oh, he woke up.
He woke up. He heard you. All right, guys. We're about to put up the number for you guys so that you guys can call in. Be back shortly. All right, let's see what we got here. We got Owl Killer talking about the economic.
Owl Killer is a legendary InfoWars caller.
Okay.
What's up, man? Are you on the air with us?
Yeah. So, I'm just dealing with this new system you guys got. So it said something about a beep. So I guess I'm on. So
can you guys hear him in the comments?
Yeah, really quick. Just doing a sound check.
Okay.
I appreciate you calling in, man.
Yeah, for sure, Rex. You definitely give and your partner, both of you give a different perspective from the conservative standpoint. And I do want to say something that there's a YouTuber by the name of Jesse on Fire. Are you familiar with him at all?
I am. Yeah, MMA. Yeah,
heard of him.
Yeah. So he was just playing a clip, about a 5-minute segment that your dad did the other day, talking about how, Trump needs to stop referring to what's happening as the Democrats. And, we know it's both sides, but them being dumb and it's actually deliberate. I don't know if you caught that. And what he was referring to was the fact that we are in end stage capitalism, basically.
Yes.
Where just like the game Monopoly, and they're playing in that video that he was playing of your father. He's going over how your father says that they own about 80%, but that's not enough for them. They want to own all 100%. And I think that is something that Elon Musk realized when he was doing Doge, because if you ever listen to the interviews he gives post his Doge experience, he's saying that the only hope is for AI to make us a whole bunch of money so we can pay that debt off. Have you heard him say that, basically?
No.
I have not seen that clip. I've heard him say similar things about having the AI make the money to solve the problem. I think he said it multiple times.
Right.
I mean, they did not want him in there. They got him out of there as fast as they could.
Because he stepped on certain people's toes and stepped on somebody who was making money somewhere, and that pissed them off. It was too big of a beast for him to tackle.
And for sure. And so you see Steve Bannon has said that he agreed with the economic recovery plan. However, the point of lowering the tax rates on the billionaire class, and that got me thinking that of actually doing that theirs should have gone up. Now, I'm a capitalist, like across the board, but what we are seeing is not capitalism.
I agree.
And
I agree.
It's really not capitalism. And my wife is originally from Dominican Republic. And as you know, a lot of Latin American countries, specifically in the 80s, went communist.
Yes.
And the reason that happened was because we installed a bunch of puppets in these Latin American countries.
Right.
One of the countries we overthrew twice was Dominican Republic.
Yep.
And what happens is the people look, well, we're being told that's capitalism, then we want the opposite. And that's what you're seeing with, like, I know people are making a big deal of the Mamdani win in New York City. I'm really not that surprised he won. And also when it comes to a state like New Jersey, where I'm originally from, they, on a national level, it may be closer Republican. I wouldn't surprise me if Republican wins on the national level.
They've
in New
won
Jersey
in the
shortly.
past.
But at the end of the day, there's a lot of state workers, and they don't want their pensions touched. So it doesn't surprise me that New Jersey went went blue. Same thing when it comes to Virginia, where I live now. Winsome's a great woman. She was a terrible candidate, and they ate her alive in all the ads. Like anytime you were watching something on like Hulu, they would be running ads against her, and they really made her out to be basically unelectable. But I think those things are just symptoms. What is going to happen is this move towards people. The wealth gap is just too much, and I don't think anybody wants to say it. Like your generation, I'm 42. You guys don't owe us anything, and for the most part, you guys don't have a few. For the most.
No, I agree. There is
no
no future. Yeah, I went to Randall's today to pick up some like wet dog food for my grandma, and I went to buy some milk because I was there at the same time. And one thing of milk is $5.75.
That's Texas.
I remember
not
when
even
it was
New
like
York.
$2.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, the level of inflation and the level of you not being able to own anything, you not being able to get out of the rent economy, you never being able to escape that or own a home, or you get a 50-year mortgage. The thing that really bothers me is that you can be in Austin, you can be driving down South Lamar, and you can see someone wearing like, a gadget watch and like AirPods, like the nicest athleisure wear and all that, wearing essentially like $1,000 or $2,000 on themselves, running down the street. And then a homeless guy is sitting right there with like open wounds, festering, bleeding on drugs. So what were you going to say, Tim?
I was going to say we're living like one of the biggest oxymorons of our generation.
I agree.
It has never been easier to get rich, and it's never been more difficult to get rich.
Yeah.
These two things can't exist in the same space.
Well, it's because of the system, and the system is set up for grifting and for fraud.
I think there was a Goldilocks period. Here's the thing: we've hit the AI stage, and there's more opportunity for us. When you were 42, you wanted to go research something. You didn't have Google. You didn't have all the internet, and you didn't have the resources to just have access to information. So the part about like, okay, I wouldn't say like, oh, I want to be born 50 years ago, because it was actually kind of more difficult if you didn't have access to information to even know where to go invest, where to go buy, where to go actually do the things that it took to get yourself out of whatever lower income situation that you were in. But now people are running into the issue where they're like, well, I need extra money in order to actually invest in the first place.
It's impossible to live. It's too expensive to live. We talked about medical bills and emergency room visits. You go to the emergency room, they're going to ask you for $1,000. And
Yeah.
this is how it works in America. And most people, they live paycheck to paycheck. They cannot afford this. But just, I know you got a point here.
Yeah.
I got to make this statement. And like Owl Killer, like I know you're an InfoWars listener and viewer and supporter. We cannot even think of a midterm victory or a victory in 2028 if people cannot eat. And this is the problem.
Yes.
Right. This is the real issue. And, you know, we can talk about the planes and the glitz and the glamour and the talking heads and all the people that run society or in government. None of that matters when people can't eat. And people make fun of my dad with the cannibal clip about how he's going to eat people. Like we got the soundbite right here.
I will eat your ass.
Like if people don't have food for 7 days, they start killing for food.
Right.
This is very real. And you say, oh, this could never happen in America. You're talking about those Latin American countries. Plenty of horrible things have happened there due to resource scarcity. That could happen here. I believe it's coming here. What's your take, Tim?
My whole thing is like at this point, and we'll come back to you in a second. I just want to make this very clear. One of the reasons why, you know, it took me a lot of inertia to get to where I am in my life today. And I'm very grateful for all the opportunities, but I had to do some really unorthodox things that I probably wouldn't have to do back in the day. When I graduated, I didn't take a job in the East Coast because I knew my cost of living was going to be way too high. I moved into the middle of Kansas, got a job that paid me the same as East Coast, offset my cost of living. I worked an engineering job and I worked as a server on the weekends. And on Fridays, I worked literally 17-hour days. If you don't believe me, go ask my family, go ask my coworkers. They knew. I was working 80-hour weeks in order to pay off my student debt, in order to even afford to invest in my first property.
Right.
And here's the thing. I only had the ability to do that because I'm young. I have the energy. I don't have any kids and I don't have any, you know, anything tying.
And you had knowledge of, you know, how to use the societal system.
Right. And I also had, you know, some people that were giving me good advice. Now, not everybody has the perfect equation. Now, if I had a kid or if I had 2 kids or I had a wife or I had specific obligations, first equation doesn't happen. I'm not moving all the way to Kansas because my whole family and everybody exists and not everybody can take that leap. So I don't expect the average person to go out there and take the most drastic steps when they've already had a certain baseline level that makes it more difficult. And they're not the single male that can just go and play GTA on free agent mode.
And I think, and we want to get back to the caller, Owl Killer here in a second. I think we think about this and me too. Like I have some country experience, but we're suburban people.
Yeah.
You know, at the end of the day, right? I wouldn't call myself a city person, but I'm definitely like a suburban person. Like I've lived in neighborhoods for most of my life. Right. And you go out to the country and you see how people live in these towns that people forgot. And the only option is like Jack in the Box, McDonald's, Dairy Queen, and Dollar Tree. Like this is all you have access to. You're out in the absolute middle of nowhere. And a lot of the country, like 30-40% of that country is in that situation. They're all spread out over America. And your bills just keep going up for energy, electricity, gas, insurance, food, anything you can think of. The bill is just going up year after year after year. And you talk about, you know, hustling and working really hard and working 80-hour weeks and just figuring a way out for upward mobility.
Yeah.
These people, they don't have the concept of that. It is literally a world that is frozen in time. It is so weird to go out to the American or especially to the Texan countryside and you see places that used to be, you know, just titans of industry, just dead.
Yep.
And you're like, huh, like what happened here? Well, it's very simple. It got more costly to live in the country. It got more easy to sell your farm off to, you know, a big corporation that would just get rid of you because you're competition. And it became easy for city people to go, hey, our money's worth a lot more there than it is here. We're making all it just to live here. We can go out there and buy your land from you. So like, this is what we see, right? And what did you see out there?
What's your, well, I want to,
maybe
I'll come back to that question. I want to give Owl Killer some love. What is your standpoint on some of the things that we're saying here?
Well, just yesterday, you guys were hitting on the healthcare issue.
Right.
Yep.
Like the issue is that there is nobody offering a solution. Back in the when the Renaissance happened in Europe, the wealthy the wealthy doubled down on humanity, and they funded libraries, and they funded infrastructure, and they funded schools. Even the Rockefellers funded projects in the United States.
Right.
No, all it seems now all they're doing, it's not real. Like one of the reasons they don't like Trump is because Trump is a builder. Somebody like a Michael Bloomberg or or a Jeff Bezos or a Zuckerberg, they don't produce a product. It's like they're living in like a virtual reality
digital.
where
Yep.
you're the money just like it's just a computer entry. And all I see the people in upper society doing is sucking money out of basically away from the people.
Right.
I just saw something with United Airlines where they're firing like 20% of their work. I'm pretty sure it's United Airlines, but they're firing like 20% of their workforce,
Right.
and they're hiring people in India to work the phones. So the point with that is the people with the money are not doubling down on us. It's like they have given up, and like they know what's coming. It's the same reason why China, they're in a worse financial situation than we are, but they keep printing money and they keep making things and they keep going because they know what everybody's playing for now is who is going to come out as the new global leader once whatever happens, whether it's a
100%.
worldwide crash or a world war. It's based that's why they don't care about running up our national debt.
That's
because
it
they
right
know
there.
It can never be paid back.
Now I want to not discredit what you're saying as far as builder. You did say like, yes, Trump is a builder, but then we're talking about Zuckerberg, Bezos, and some of these other people. I have to give credit where credit is due. The thing is,
the billionaires.
two-handed at that point. But here's the thing: the value of a company like Amazon, the value of something like Altman and what he did with OpenAI, those can't be discredited. Those are maybe not be physical, tangible items, but they have dramatically changed the way in which we operate our day-to-day lives. Now, for example, Amazon. I know back in the day, and you're old enough to also realize back in the day when it came down to ordering something before Amazon, good luck if you thought that was going to come next day. You're looking at
I remember.
you're looking at like a week plus, maybe. You're not really having the best tracking in the world. You're just kind of hoping that shows up to your door, and let's hope for the best. What Amazon did by providing products from around the world and giving us access to stuff that we don't have to leave our house for, it's a convenience, but it's also life-changing.
That's one of those things, though, that when it stops coming, whenever things really get bad, that like we have so many creature comforts, we can do whatever we want.
This is true,
right?
But it's at the same time, you could say the same argument like the internet. When the internet was created, we've become so reliant on it now. If there was an EMP that blew up,
internet, it would be The Walking Dead.
Yeah, people wouldn't know what to do.
It would literally be like the crime, the craziness, because people would just be like jellyfish. They would shut down.
Right.
I would hide in my house with a gun, to be fair.
Yeah,
But,
people would
like-
lose their
like-
shit. But not just that, you have all these other critical systems that rely on internet now in order to provide services to people. If that all falls, everybody's cooked in general.
I agree.
So I'm just saying, overall, let's not discredit some of the work that has been done on the digital, because it has dramatically changed our lives.
But
for the better.
I see his point as Trump being someone who was involved in physical, tangible products where he saw something physically get built and that culture being important. I get your perspective.
But that's just new age versus old age is what is how I see that.
I think, people that live on computers all day and live in the nicest neighborhoods with the most money, they may not ever consider, the concept of there being a pothole that needs to get fixed. I do think Trump is the type of guy that may think about stuff like that. Like he talks, at least he signals that he cares about infrastructure. He doesn't just say the word infrastructure. He says, even if he doesn't build it, the type of things he'd like to have built. I've seen a lot of examples of this. So great call, Owl Killer. Really appreciate you. Is there anything you want to say in closing?
No, Justin, like, something happened with that big beautiful bill, and that's when our foreign policy went completely left. It's almost like he had to sacrifice some of the things he stood for in order to get that bill passed. And it just seems out of that Laura Ingraham interview yesterday, so out of touch with reality.
We should have played that. That's a good one.
Yeah, I really wish he would just come out and say, "Hey, dudes, we're in a bad position." Like in all
that's not
reality,
what he does. He
you're going to
doubles
need
down.
He doubles down.
You're going to need to start over.
He doubles down. But thank you for your call, and I hope you call in again. Thank you, Owl Killer. Thank you very much.
Yeah, that's the thing about Trump. You'll never catch him saying something bad about what he said. He'll double down and deny till he dies. But here's the thing. I mean, you've got to say certain things in order to, like, here's the thing. If he came out and said that, not just his approval ratings, but you're going to see like the stock market drop and all these other things. He kind of has a responsibility to double down.
That is true. Heavy is the head that wears the crown. Now we're going to go to New Groper and joining now.
What's up, guys? How are y'all doing today?
Hey, we're doing
well.
great. Thanks for waiting, man. I appreciate it.
Hey, no problem. It was a great caller before me. It's hard to follow that up, but
hey, you always do well.
What's on your mind?
Are you guys enjoying this golden age yet?
Oh yeah, it gets better every day. I get more positive. You know, it's also great. Like
hey, yeah, it's like, oh, you can't pay your bills. Let's add a 50-year mortgage. Oh, you can't pay for your car. Let's just make that a 15-year.
Right.
Like, dude, like, I don't, and I just want to bring this to everybody's attention and remind everybody that the way that Trump's been portrayed is as like a bastion against the left. But let's not forget that up until 2015, I believe, he was a registered Democrat.
Right.
I believe it was that recent. Like he rubbed elbows with the Clintons, and he hung out with Epstein, and he ran with the whole crowd. And what we're seeing, like, everybody's like, man, why are his actions different than his words? It's like, well, because he's lying.
Right. I agree.
At least that's.
No,
it's
all. I'm not trying to step on your point. I'll let you continue, but like this is just what I keep saying every show is like the level of grifting. Even these new scams they produce, like the 15-year like car payment and then the 50-year mortgage. Like Tim gave the explanation, hey, maybe it makes sense for business, right? All these things make sense for people that know how to use the system. It's just the average American, the person that gets screwed. They trust Trump when he comes out and says, hey, I got this new magical thing that's going to be great for you, when it has no material benefit to their life. I mean, has there been a single policy besides maybe freeing the Jan 6 people that has improved people's lives? The tariffs certainly have.
Wait, the policy of freeing the Jan 6 improved my life?
No, improved a lot. It improved a lot of people's.
Well, I'm saying the people who are directly affected.
It improved a lot of people's.
Flip that one in there.
Now, why? I think it's correct. I think it's a correct statement. But what are your thoughts, New Groper? Has there been anything where he's delivered?
To me, no. I mean, well, it depends. If you're Israel, absolutely.
Oh yeah.
Like that billboard that was shared at the beginning where it said "Make Israel Great." Man, he is the greatest president Israel has ever seen.
He could be the prime minister.
I mean, yeah, it wouldn't be surprising to me if he went because I think he's going to end up being one of the most hated presidents we've ever had.
I agree.
Both by left and right.
It's so sad,
when
but
it's
it's
all
true.
said and done. So watch out. He's going to move to Tel Aviv and retire there.
Honestly,
I mean, he's not going to want.
Yeah. I like to see a betting line on that. Maybe
this is up on Polymarket, Kalshi.
Dude, I like seriously that makes a lot of sense. I mean, all these people, all the elites, eventually, when that Great Depression does happen, you're going to see a lot of this permanent political class be like, "Hey, we did all we could. We're moving out of the country."
All right, so here's my take on it. I'm not a Trump glazer, but I have to give credit where credit's due. I will say one of the main issues I did vote on was the border issue. I know this is something that people have brought up in the past, but at the end of the day, I was really pissed off. I used to lean more Democratic, probably 2021, 2022. Started seeing all the crazy stuff that was happening in Ukraine, saw all the people that were coming into the border, and I was like, you know what? I think it's time to switch teams. And one of my major issues, as well as the rest of the country, it was like number 1 or 2 slot we voted on was the border situation. Now, he has increased ICE's border the amount of money that's going into it.
They got $32 billion.
They increased the budget that they have. But here's the thing. I voted for kicking out people who were criminals, which he was doing, which he is continuously doing. I voted for kicking out people who did not have America's best interest, and I agree with those things. The only thing about the immigration thing that I am not really a fan of is when we go after the kids, and then when we go after international people that are like the intellectual people that we need that pay a lot of taxes
people to
here.
still getting you want people
I
still
want
getting visas.
like I don't see why we have to attack the
See-
H1. There's so many more issues that we have besides attacking H1B. I know you guys are gonna clean me up, but here's the thing. I would rather have the intelligence of the smartest people around the world coming here rather than them just going to their own country and building that stuff there. We are a product of international cooperation and having the brightest minds here. It's that melting pot because we've created that.
I see that issue.
Melting pot.
Yeah, I see that issue.
Hey, hold on.
Yeah,
I got to
ahead.
interject real quick.
Go ahead.
Let's talk about melting pot really quick. Do you know where that comes from?
No, educate
That term,
me.
melting pot? It was a term that was coined by a Jewish playwright, and it was I can't remember when it was made, but the whole intent, like before that, we were not a melting pot.
Yeah, this is
You know, like
this
this whole
historically been
idea.
a white
Go ahead.
Christian country majority, and that's about to change coming up in like
Until we got the
2045.
slaves over here, but
Well, I mean, the black population isn't growing. That's not the change in our demographic. It's the primarily Latino graphic that's going to take over.
yeah, that's true.
So, but go ahead, New Groper.
Yeah, no, okay. So let's talk about Trump's achievements just a little bit more. First of all, the border. The border is irrelevant because of how many people, both legal and illegal, that we have here. Statistics have shown now that we have more people than we have open jobs. I'm a fan of, hey, we can help people if you're in a position to help them. We as a nation are American citizens. We can't buy houses. Everything is expensive.
Right.
And, it's like, hey, Trump, if you want to like lower house prices and make them reasonable, kick all of these people out. Like when he talked about these 600,000 Chinese H1B or H1B / student visas. Like, bro, that's MAGA? Are you smoking crack? Like on what planet is that what we asked for?
So
I believe it was the opposite.
help me understand, are you like all or nothing? Is it a binary thing for you? It's like either they let the people in or you just kick everybody out in isolationism. Like what's your...
Now, I would say this. There is a direct correlation between the mass immigrations happened over the past decade to decade and a half and political and regional instability. There is. I mean, everybody's talking about we're bringing the best and brightest. That's not who got sent here.
Well, you gotta separate it though.
I mean, these were.
You gotta separate it. You've got to have the people that come here legally, and then you have to talk about the illegal because these are two different separate issues. The problem is they're all getting lumped under the same umbrella is the issue.
So can I pose this question?
Go ahead.
Is the country itself, does it have an obligation to provide opportunities for everyone, or does it have an obligation to provide opportunities for its own people?
Primary is its own people. I'll give you that. But here's the thing.
I agree.
We're not talking about are the gaps in the education. This is the macro argument here, right? If there is an equivalent American to replace the equivalent job, or we're a meritocracy when it comes down to whoever's the most qualified applicant, we have a gap when it comes to STEM. Okay. Even in school, the typical person who was like going for the engineering degree and the person who was, going to do the doctor, it was more often like the Asian parents that were like pushing their kids to do that because it's within the culture. Americans tell and I'm super pro America, but I'm just saying there's a gap. You have to go and take a step back and be like, okay, we got to teach our kids the right things. There is a gap in the amount of Americans that want to go do really hard jobs like software engineering and those things. That's why we have created the funnel to bring other people in, because in India and in China, when you're like 5 years old, they immediately tell you, look, you're not going for this little art history degree. You're not going for English
docked it
major.
now.
Yeah,
docked it now.
you're doing doctor, or you're going to be an engineer, or you're going to be something that contributes to society. And that has been a generational thing that they have passed through the lineage. Here, if Jimmy wants to go and study underwater basket weaving, Jimmy gets to go study underwater basket weaving for fucking $200,000.
Is the solution just to import people forever?
No. It's there's a balance,
No.
but here's the thing: we go from one extreme to another. That's the problem I have here. That's why we're in the situation. You do a gradual change. You remember you're talking about strategy, not strategic instead of long-term thinking. I forget.
I understand the point you're making. At the core of this argument, and this is why you're never going to agree with New Groiper, and New Groiper's never going to agree with you. This is a demographics problem at the end of the day. And for people like New Groiper, and I would argue myself to a certain extent, the vast makeover and change of the country that we're told is good just because it is good, and we need to have the best people here, but all the people need to be here. The argument that New Groiper is making is he goes, look, I see 20 million people come over the border illegally. I see 600,000 students come over here legally, and then the visa programs and the whatnot. I don't want any of it, because the way I've seen it, my country has changed, not for the better, not for the people that lived here. And the solution that we're getting from the government is, hey, the economy sucks. No one wants to do these jobs. Why don't we just bring people here that will? And instead of encouraging the American people, instead of helping them, we outsource it domestically instead of internationally. We bring the people here instead of paying them over there.
Go ahead.
And not just that, I think that there's been institutional bias against Native, like Americans who were born here, like with the DEI initiatives of the past, I guess, 2 decades. Hey,
well, they know they can pay people less.
You know, if it comes down to it, they've got quotas for the different demographics. And it's been politicized to the point to where, first of all, America, we built Western civilization in a modern sense. We championed it. I mean, the British kind of laid some groundwork, but America, like the computer, the internet, like all the modern things that we see were built by Americans in America. And I don't think that the intellect, like our IQ just dropped by 15 or 20. I think that we still have that IQ, but I think we're being artificially suppressed. And it's like, I work in fintech, and I can tell you this, and this is going to be unpopular. I deal with a lot of H-1B workers, particularly from India. They cannot physically do the work. Like, I'm just speaking from my own field. It is extreme. First of all, you can't communicate with them. Second of all, they struggle to understand the basic concepts and how to do the job, to the point where everybody's frustrated. But the company that I work for, which is really big, gets incentivized to hire foreigners, and so they do over Americans. And every year they lay off thousands of Americans. And then at the beginning of the year, after the quarter ends, at the beginning of this next quarter, they go and hire a bunch of Indian people every single time.
So let me touch upon what you're saying.
It's a systemic issue.
Go ahead.
Mm-hmm.
Continue.
No, you're good. Go ahead.
I was just gonna say.
No, I was just going.
I agree with the standpoint of when you have like those tiered jobs that are like, especially like customer service being kicked out to, outsourced to,
some
AI
other now.
Well, I mean, it's AI, but it hasn't caught up yet. And Amazon, all of their people are like international, and you can no longer talk to American over phone. Super frustrating. Sure, there would be somebody who would take that job. Those are the scenarios. Like I said, everything is tiered. I'm not saying this is a black or white thing. It is a gray area thing where you have what you're going to is from one extreme where the companies just decided, all right, well, we found this is completely cheaper, and we just take it to the extreme and just fire a bunch of Americans and replace them. And then your other counterpoint is like, okay, well, just kick them all out, right? No, the real happy medium is a mixing of the two ideas. The people we need are the brightest software engineers in the very high skill labor class, right? I'm talking about those gaps. I'm not talking about, I know you talked about fintech, but I'm saying like, I know a ton of elite coders that come from overseas, and they runs circles around people who code here, and they create amazing technology here, and it's part of the reason why we have such amazing.
Do the vast majority of the people that hold the H-1B or whatever, do they perform that level of skilled labor?
So here's the problem with H-1B.
I would argue probably not.
So here's the problem with H-1B and why the Republicans and some of these other groups have gone and attacked that specific program. There has been a grifting that has happened on a macro level with the lottery system, to where they've created the lottery system's a mess. It needs to be fixed. Okay. That part is very clear. The problem, what was happening with the Indian H-1B is, like, majority of H-1B holders are India, and they come from India. And the thing is, what ended up happening is you have these organizations that are overseas that basically are in charge of finding specific people that would go and take a particular job here in America for a lot less money than the American worker here. I don't agree with that type of practice. What I do is the meritocracy practice, where you have the same two people competing for the same job, and whoever is better at the job should get the job. But at the same time, holding that placeholder for the American who, like, it half-ass is not going to work as hard. I don't need that guy at that point. And there's you take it.
Well, I think I think that's generally a straw man, in the sense of, when it comes to American workers, most of them, the most American workers I know, both of all levels, they work hard. I think, like, the whole problem that we have is, and this is a point I'd pose: if these people are so smart and so much better than us, why can they not build industries in their own nation?
Okay, so let me
India
that.
is having festivals, don't poop at each other.
Let me.
Dude, you're gonna
culture. The festival.
New Grover. Well, first of all, let me clarify, and everyone's gonna think, oh, I'm an Indian. I'm like being paid by. Yeah, I'm a shell agent, basically. No, here's the thing. First of all, the throwing poop. I've got to make this clear, because I inform myself on these. That was one Indian place where a specific group of population of like 500,000 Indian out of the billion, those were the people that practiced it. It was just that one rural village. He went there. Yeah, hilarious video. Ha 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 ha. But the vast majority of Indians, like the 99%, don't do that. Okay. Let's put that one to rest. Okay. Why? Well, I'm going to answer your question.
Your hill.
I'm going to answer your question now.
Your hill to die on.
I'm going to answer your question now, where you're asking me, okay, Tim, why can't they build these things? It's because you take the smartest people who were in those countries that could have built that stuff. They want to come here to America. That is why I have people that I know that are mega geniuses that could create amazing things in their own country, but there is a certain appeal that America creates, and that we have incentivized for people to come here. The American dream.
That's the thing.
Well, I'd say this,
right?
Go ahead, Rex.
No, go ahead, New Grover. Now, I agree with both of y'all.
No, I'd say this. This is the reality. They don't want to build anything for themselves in their own nations. They want to come to America, the greatest nation in the planet, even with its faults, and they want to take our jobs and take because these American companies which were built by Americans, and so they want to take it over. And the problem is too is their hiring practices. They're having group chats where they're hiring people based on their Indian caste system. It's out of control. We as Americans have a right to live and work and do well in our own nation. I'm not in agreement with Ben Shapiro of, if you can't find opportunities, go somewhere else. So this is our nation. I tell you this.
Give me a second.
I didn't serve this nation to not have opportunities afforded to my generation and the next one. It's just outrageous.
Here's what I hear.
It's like, go ahead.
Here's what I hear. You don't like there being groups of people that, based off identity, organize and then collectively try to get ahead. I'm against that as well. So, like, this is what I hear, right?
I think it's a reality.
people talk about Jewish people, international Jewry, like Nick Fuentes does. At the core of the issue that he's talking about, he goes, look, these people are highly coordinated. They identify with being in their ethnic group, and they're working to advance their ethnic group, not necessarily the nation that they're in. And I can understand that. I think that's not true for all groups of people, but I do think specifically, like, you have a bunch of people come over here from China, 600,000 people come over here from China, to learn, to study, to integrate, blah, 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 blah. Are those people going to be more loyal to America or to the People's Republic of China?
What you need is and I see where you're going with that. I don't agree with just opening the floodgates, letting a bunch of people in, and not having their best intentions. I know a ton of international people that love America, if not more than their own country.
I know. And
here's the thing.
I'm not totally against legal immigration.
So here's the thing. Yes, this is where it comes down to the macro level argument. It is about legal immigration for the people who want to come here, who have not the same opportunities. Because here's the thing. Starting a business in the Philippines is not the equivalency of starting a business here. Starting a business in Britain, for example, is actually harder. Even in Germany, it is harder for you to do the same things that it's here because they've already.
I get that, but at the same time, as America, that's not our problem.
I knew you're going there.
Like
I see what you're saying.
Y'all aren't going to be able.
We're not going to be able to.
Y'all have opposing positions. So, like, I think that you've made good points. I think New Groper's made good points. Just societal at large, immigration issues huge. Of course, I wanted to say this, but then we kind of got into a tangent or discussion on this issue, which I think was a good discussion. I voted for Trump. I was a single issue voter as well. Sounds like you're pretty much like immigration. I want that over, right?
No,
like when it comes to like people with the border.
Well, no, that part was like, I think you still continue that process. Overall, my whole standpoint with all of this, and even with you, New Groper, I'm saying let's not take extremes here. There are nuances to everything, and there's scenarios that make sense.
I get it. I'm trying to make a point. I apologize. I'm trying to make a point. My point being is when you were talking about Trump and you were kind of being like, hey, like we can't just say he's totally bad. Like these are things that he's followed through on. That's what we're talking about is things.
That's one of the things
he hadn't delivered. My issue with Trump beyond anything else is I am sick of the death. I'm sick of looking at Ukraine. I'm sick of looking at Gaza. I'm sick of looking at these boats that were just drone striking or helicopter striking or whatever. And they have the cool words for it. And Jesse Waters orgasms about it on Fox News. That's what I'm upset about. Like beyond financial economics, even demographic stuff, the karma on America of having like 60+ million aborted fetuses, plus all these millions of people that have died in the Middle East and in Eastern Europe now based on conflicts that we've started. This is what really bothers me. And you talk about America as being a place that, other people in other countries, they love America more than their own country. And like they want to come here. I think that's true. I actually think that that's a good thing. I would like to preserve that. And that's why I would still like some people coming over here. Because when that's not the case, we're truly fucked.
It's controlled immigration.
Yeah,
that's what it's all about.
And I totally understand I understand your point, Tim. And I want America to be a place, much less a place people come.
I think I can understand where you guys are saying. You're like, well, look, it's already a big mess. We need to clean up house first before we can think about the solutions when it comes to these systems.
Right.
Well, I mean, it's just
like we can do all, the immigration, all that stuff. It's like, I'm not saying no immigration ever. I'm saying immigration can't happen at the detriment of the American people. It cannot. Like that just can't happen. And right now we're in a position to where we can't help ourselves. And with our society being so unstable, adding more people with different cultures and different values to it is kind of like adding more gunpowder to the keg that's about to blow up.
I think immigration,
and that's why I'd like to see it stop.
I think immigration, if I tier the list of like what's causing issues, I think that's not like the high priority of what's causing a lot of issues. I mean that it is one of them.
People are pissed.
They're mad at that. But at the same time, I think the biggest problem is Trump is trying to do too many things all at the same time.
He's not doing.
I'm saying when I say trying to do, I'm saying his mind is focused on trying to do something over here, do something over there.
Dude,
One day he's
literally-
tweeting about that. One time he's tweeting about this.
He's the new Biden, man. Like, and here's the thing: if Biden was asleep, Trump is awake. He's sleepwalking. He's just going through the motions of playing the character that is Donald J. Trump, President of the United States of America. Like he's going to the dinners, he's having the press conferences, he's sitting in the Oval Office. He's not making any decisions. I'm done with believing this. Okay?
No, when I say decisions, I mean, like, let me clarify on that. It's not necessarily that you're necessarily moving. It's like I have 100 different things instead of for me just go and be like, all right, these are the top 5 things. Let's just go and knock these all out before going this. It's like, all right, we start with like the tariffs, and then suddenly we jerk the wheel and we're just invading Venezuela all of a sudden.
My point is, what is it exactly that the United States president actually does? Because every single one that we have, the country gets worse. So what is it exactly that the president and even the government do? Well, they provide services to people. They protect national security, all this, that, and the other thing. They don't actually help anyone. It's just like the police. All they do is protect property. They don't care about you. So I think we look at this whole system. We're like, oh, like, how do we fix it? How do we fix it? This is why I believe in like a third party or a new system. I just believe the system is totally broken. And whenever we have these people in office, whatever they say, whatever they do, it's always just going to be at the behest of the people with the money. So like, I think it's organized collapse. It is demoralization. It's crime.
No, I know it has to get bad before it gets good.
Right.
But
so it just includes.
What about you, Nick Roper?
Yeah, no, you know, my whole thing with Trump is he will do everything except what we asked him to do, because he got the call to the tune of $250 million by Miriam Adelson. And, you know, it's funny how all these other nations are blood and soil nationalist nations, like Ukraine, blood and soil, right? Oh, we got to help the Ukrainian people for their nation.
Right.
Oh, Israel's got to be the Jewish nation of Israel. We got to make sure they're the Jewish nation of Israel. But when it comes to America,
we're not allowed to have identity.
It's a free for all. Yeah. And you know, it's like, let's do everything to help these other people when our people are struggling, like genuinely struggling. And we're not talking about just lazy bums. We're talking about people who work hard.
Yep.
And contribute to society. And what's going to happen is society will fall because of it. And eventually there will be a season of, you know, civil unrest or, you know, spanning maybe to civil war, and it will be their fault.
Yeah.
And partially our fault because we never held them to why would we expect to hold them accountable now if we haven't held them accountable for at least the past 100 years? That's kind of on us.
Well, it's been slow. It's been slow grabbing of power. That's what's been happening.
You know what I think the swamp is? I think the swamp, like the water and the mud in the swamp, I think that's money. I think that's all the fake money they printed. I think that's all the inflation. That's what they swim around in, these people.
Yeah.
We talk about
that's a good point.
Yeah, we talk about the depression. We talk about the collapse coming and all this stuff. That's the drought. That's what dries up all that water. I think that's what we need in order for the country to heal. And I think you think about that analogy, it'll make a little bit of sense, because the numbers that we talk about, like 300 billion to Ukraine, $1 trillion to defense and to the military, like these are not like it's just forever zeros.
Yeah, I mean, you're right. I think the point that the whole system really changes, and the America that everybody's talking about, the only version that exists, you know, this third party, it only exists if there's enough, like you said, turmoil. And I hate the fact that we have to try to speak that into existence. But the thing is like, you kind of have to shake up things in order for people to realize, oh, is it really bad? Because it's once the debt really collapses on us and it starts messing up the average American's life, then it's kind of like slapping the politicians and being like, okay, look, we did something really bad here. Right. We need to fix this.
I mean, I think they'll flee the country when it gets to that point. I mean, and this is the thing. When we criticize Trump, we criticize the Republican Party and the right in general. The left is generally more mobilized and ready in some sort of like quick collapse situation to try to take over. And
I don't want them in power.
I don't want them in power either. So, you know, it's a real catch-22. where you're in a situation where this guy you voted for and you thought was going to do all these great things has really just turned into an enabler for the decline of the system. And it's really setting up an environment where Americans, they don't research the policies. They don't really research the candidates. They live their lives. And if their lives become easier or more difficult, they vote based on that. And things have gotten a lot more difficult already.
Or who's popular or who's cool.
Trump. And like, it's like Trump isn't popular or cool right now. Like he's doing a terrible job, in my opinion, and I think in a lot of Americans' opinions. And he's setting up the country for the leftist surge that I think will happen. And then whenever these people get in power, they're going to use the executive powers that he developed and Biden developed and Obama developed before him, and they're going to do the full rollout. Man, it's all going to be there. So just like in closing, what scares you the most about the future? What are you the most optimistic about?
Well, I'd say this. The thing that scares me the most is the passivity of the people.
Right.
It's like as long as the circuses are running, they don't care. And by the time they do care, it's going to be far too late to care.
Right.
And so, you know, and the thing, like with the politicians, it's not that we don't look on the politicians or whatever.
Right.
It's that they look us in the eyes and they lie, and we have no recourse. We can't call, to my knowledge, and correct me if I'm wrong here, guys, we can't call snap referendum elections on like executive branch, you know, like the president.
The Congress.
No, we don't have that. And you're right. We can't do it for nothing. And so they lie to us on purpose, and they have for decades, and they get away with it. And then we can't do nothing, because here's the thing. This is, and some might say I'm Fed posting here with this, but this is just a concept of, if you talk about physically solving the problem, you're a domestic terrorist now. And it's like, they've got everybody so spooked to say anything about it. But honestly, like when I think of like the things that are good that's going to come, I think the people will rise up, and I think we will correct it eventually. My prayer is that we just, this starts before I'm, or soon enough to where I'm not too old to, be safe and handle things during it.
Well,
but that's the reality.
The thing you talk about,
people are going to have to, something's going to have to happen.
The thing you talk about is direct action, and the left has always been more than willing to engage in that, right? So I think that's a great point. Phenomenal call, New Groiper, and everyone.
Always enjoy having you on, man.
Yeah, always enjoy having you on, man. And
it's fun.
Yeah, and please follow New Groiper. It's NU Groiper on X if you're watching this live. And thank you, man. We'll see you on the next one. Appreciate it.
Yeah, we'll see you guys. Take it easy.
You too. Beautiful. All right. So you want to take more calls? What do you want to do here? We're at 2 hours. You want to do more? What do you want to do? I kind of want to watch this Ingram.
Let's watch it first,
because everyone's
and we'll come back to Andrew.
Yeah, and everyone's talking about this, and thank you, Andrew, for holding so long. Let's watch a quick clip of this, because everyone's outraged.
Republicans have to talk about it.
And does that mean the H-1B visa thing will not be a big priority for your administration? Because if you want to raise wages for American workers, you can't flood the country with tens of thousands or hundreds of thousands of foreign workers.
You also do have to bring in talent.
You're just making your argument.
Talented people
no, you
here.
don't. No, you don't.
We don't have talented people here.
No, you don't have. You don't have certain talents, and people have to learn.
Yes.
You can't take people off an unemployment line and say, I'm going to put you into a factory where we're going to make missiles, or I'm going to put
How did we ever do it before?
Well,
I'll
give you an example. In Georgia, they raided because they wanted illegal immigrants out. They had people from South Korea that made batteries all their lives. Making batteries are very complicated. It's not an easy thing and very dangerous. A lot of explosions, a lot of problems. They had like 500 or 600 people, early stages, to make batteries and to teach people how to do it. Well, they wanted them to get out of the country. You're going to need that, Laura. I mean, I know you and I disagree on this. You can't just say a country's coming in, going to invest $10 billion to build a plant, and going to take people off an unemployment line who haven't worked in 5 years, and they're going to start making missiles. It doesn't work that way.
Okay, he's kind of making your point, Sam.
Yeah, and that was what I was saying. And people think like, okay, well, me making this argument means like, I love India. Oh, I love China. I'm a
Well,
but like
it's your position. You don't have to apologize.
But the
for it.
position really is not necessarily going to the extreme and being like, let's bring in 600,000 freaking Chinese immigrants in. It's just, hey, look, there is a nice sweet spot where we do have a gap, and we're not going to be able to fill that because we have undereducated people, and it's going to take a while for us to get to that point where we can actually reprogram an entire generation. So we already made the mess. It's not like you can, just like we're talking about the government, you can't just like all of a sudden snap your fingers and the problem disappears with the two-party system. You know, it's just, you got to work with the tools that you have right now. And this is the situation we're in, guys.
Well, let's talk to Andrew now. He's been holding for quite some time. Appreciate you holding. Appreciate you holding for so long, man. What's on your mind?
What's up?
Have a good night.
Yeah, awesome. I called in like a couple weeks ago.
Oh, you're the Connecticut guy, right?
Yeah.
I recognize your voice, man. Good to see you again.
Awesome. Yeah, I'm definitely I'm with New Groiper, I'd say. I like
There's a common thread. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, did you
what's your standpoint?
Oh, go ahead.
What's your points? I want to just break it down for us.
Well, if I have a single issue, my single issue is just the demographic changes that we're seeing in the country. I don't know. Is it that crazy to say you want the nation that you have heritage in and grew up in to remain of the same characteristics as it was before? Because what we're seeing is that it's rapidly dwindling before our eyes, and it's not going to get better on our current track, and it's only going to get closer and closer into a hellscape. So just wanting to kind of like steer away from that as much as possible is, I think, the move.
Right.
You cut out.
You cut out.
Oh, did I cut out?
Yeah, now we can hear you.
Okay, nice. What part did I cut out at?
Kind of in the middle.
Yeah, the very end of that sentence.
Okay, well, I was basically just saying that my single issue is demographics. I'm white, and I would like the country to stay as white as possible because the lineage of people that I came from and that created the country.
I know. I agree with him. I agree with him. Like this is my position as well. And ultimately, when we talk about the demographics of the country, like the black population, we're not talking about the black population. We're talking about the majority Latino population, which will be the case for the United States of America come like the 2050s.
Yeah.
So, and this is the point. Would you tell people, I guess you would tell people in France that, hey, your country is going to be Francistan, and you're going to have Afghanis and Pakistanis and people from the Middle East, and that's cool and that's fine. And now, at the Louvre, you're going to have to put on the hijab. And is that okay? I would not say
so. Question for both of you: is it a culture thing, or is it a, like, I know you said demographic?
It's a hereditary thing. It's not necessarily racial. It's in the sense of history of being here, which is why I would say you have the exact same argument.
Yeah, I mean, ultimately, I would say, ideally, yes, you could say, well, America is built off of immigrants. America is a combination of immigrants from Europe and all of the things that happened from the time periods that happened in the past. I can see the argument that you guys are making. I think, maybe the influx was a little bit too much at a certain point to where, like, yeah,
it's like 20 million people.
It's a lot.
And this is the thing, and here's maybe we can find common ground on this. In regards to people coming over here that are skilled labor in like software tech or the STEM field, I can see the argument for it. Not sure if I agree or disagree, but I understand what you're saying, not throwing the baby out with the bathwater. It makes sense to me. Now, you talk about the people that came here over the past 10 years, the tens of millions of them. They don't need to be here for the society to function. They do not. They simply do not. You cannot make the argument.
Only a fraction.
The society was running before,
and
now the society is running after with the influx of people worse. So it disgusts me that when Biden was elected, he literally said immediately surge the border, and you had caravans of people in Biden shirts just trying to get in. And we did that for years. And then when Trump comes into office, we can say, hey, immigration is a complicated issue, blah, blah, blah. It's not complicated when you have 20 million people come in here over a short period of time. It's not complicated at all. I believe you have to get them out. But what's your take, Andrew?
The scary thing is most people, even conservatives, aren't really willing to have the hard conversations, but saying the uncomfortable things that don't sound nice when you say them out loud, but they're true. So you need to say it. It's like, why are there Somalians in Minneapolis? Why is the mayor giving a speech in Somalian? This is a coordinated attack. Viewing it as anything other than a coordinated attack would be totally naive.
Yeah,
They're
I mean, like, what do you
all these places?
What do you call it when they put like 80,000 Somalian people in one county that's small and they become the majority and then they control that city?
No, yeah, that's a little wild,
right? And like,
it is literally colonialism, 21st century colonialism.
Right. And that's the thing. And colonialism, of course, is a means of warfare at the end of the day. And it's our government doing this against the people that live here. And for political advancement for the party. I shouldn't say the government. I should say political parties, political figures. It's gerrymandering at the end of the day.
Yeah,
like there's a lot of cases of this, right? And you'll say, hey, we got to redraw the map so that we can still have a Republican here, or vice versa for the Democrat. This is just a new way of doing that, where you import a large amount of people to a specific area. We're not talking about individual cases here. Like this is systemically done as a mean of warfare. So I agree with you on that, Andrew.
And this is my take on the H-1B take. It's very academic, very sophisticated, nuanced take. Is that I actually couldn't care about any of the specifics of their visas and who's the most qualified in meritocracy. Something like meritocracy is something I have no interest in at this point in time.
There you go.
Given how late in the stages of just sliding into total hellscape that this country is in, we're on the precipice of total collapse. Most people don't even see that, but it's just true. And so I just think that I don't completely agree with Tim that extremism isn't the relevant solution.
I think
because
a lot of people
if we
want
live in
that.
extreme times, then extremism seems like it would only make sense.
But don't you think that's why we've
to
gotten to where we've gotten to now? Like, here's the thing. I think we've been operating on this level of extremism and just pulling the lever in one direction or the other instead of just slightly gently steering the wheel, which is why the mess has been created in the first place. That's actually really my macro level argument. You just meet one extreme with another extreme.
That's a political argument. That's a political argument for making political solutions. I'm just of the opinion that there is no political solution. I don't want to get into Fed posting territory like New Grover was saying, but I definitely echo what he was putting down. There probably is no political solution. So the time for kind of making compromises and just slightly stepping around the bush and not really doing a whole bunch. I think the time for that is kind of like over, and there really is, especially if they're trying to still give everyone the total fabrication that voting matters when they've imported like at least I don't even know what the numbers would be now, but probably like 100 million. Who even knows what the numbers are of people that are just not of this country? That
it's
are
like 20 to 30
here.
million.
Okay, so
20 to 30
question
million.
for you guys, both of you.
Okay,
and I'm not necessarily I don't have an answer on this, and I'm not necessarily completely against some of the arguments you guys are making here, but like, let's go back into like the whole Native American thing. Like, what do you think at that point is the answer? Because technically we came in here, well, I can't say we, I wasn't even here yet, but the Native Americans was the native population here and they got wiped out. If you were the Native American, what's your standpoint on that?
Here's my answer. That was war. This is also war, but it's not waged in direct conflict. It is the controllers of the system. It's that fourth branch of government, that bureaucratic class that has deliberately done this to destabilize the country. And the people don't have a vote. They don't get to fight back against it. They just have to suffer with more immigration.
So then
it's warfare.
Do you think do you think it's Darwinism though at that point?
No, it's being allowed. It's being allowed by our government against the wishes of the people. Like this is a warfare operation, just like the Native Americans. That was also a warfare operation. You can draw direct parallels from that. I agree with your point. It's war. It's war over people of
The
always
Native Americans.
Go ahead.
Oh, go ahead.
No, go ahead. I'm done.
I was just going to say that there was injustices towards Native Americans, obviously, but there's this whole fake narrative that we were like the evil, like psychotic butchers, and we just like came to them and killed them instantly.
Well, we did, and we
like,
were, but
it was a colonizing.
Well, here, let me make the point. Let me step on the point and interrupt everyone. They were also.
Yeah.
They were killing each other. They were scalping each other. They were raping each other, kidnapping each other. It was, look, it's all the same thing. People are people. And this is why we talk about the Star Wars narrative always being wrong of like the hero and the villain. It doesn't work that way throughout history. It's whoever has the upper hand takes advantage. They ultimately win the conflict. So for me, when I think about, getting into the morality of the Native American issue, the topic, it's a completely different world. It's a completely different world. And I could say that the parallel is relevant in the sense of changing the like demographics or population of a place and changing its culture. Where I don't see it as relevant is saying like it mean, therefore we are not allowed to be mean. I start like on either side. I don't think it's relevant. I don't think we're allowed to be mean to the Native Americans. I don't think the Native Americans are allowed to like people think that they like were like riding around on horses and stuff before we came over here. Like the level of ignorance about like what was going on over here before we came over here. It was a pretty brutal system. And the image of the Native American like on the horse and stuff. And like the horses came over here because the Spanish and the British brought them over here and all that. Like there's a whole mythology around that subject. When you look at people across the globe, they're universally the same. At some point, every culture has engaged in human sacrifice. Every culture has engaged in slavery, all these things that we would deem to be immoral and illegal and bad in the modern sense. My point is both sides are
it just comes down to preservation. And that's why I said Darwinism, because it's like literally you're competing. That's what it is.
Right. But it's essentially like what did they do to be able to compete here? That's the point I'm making.
No, that was internal. I see what you're saying. That's like an internal espionage that happened from people like Biden and the administration that just decided, all right, let's just incentivize that to happen.
I mean, they let tens of millions of people into the country. They told them to come. They told the people to come here.
Darwinism wouldn't apply to a whole entire nation where you are basically stripped of any means of defending yourself under the tyranny of the current occupiers of the government. And Darwinism would only make sense if you were talking about it on a much smaller scale and a less complicated fashion. But that's my opinion.
So here's what I'll wrap up with. In my opinion, I'm pro-America at the end of the day. I like to play devil's advocate because it really just, I like to get the thought process thinking and how people, I just want to hear opinions. And some of these are my original thoughts in terms of like,
there's also things you agree with.
And there's things that I agree with you guys on. At the end of the day, I don't know what it's like to be necessarily in your shoes as, I'm not white. I don't like my culture technically is Africa. If I really go down to the deep of it, but in general we're
an American.
We're integrated. There's no changing that. But for me it's a different thing because I'm already the minority and I'm not really thinking about preserving. I mean, there's people in the Black community that are like get super pissed off at me for like if I'm into white women or something like that. They're like, oh, you're not preserving.
Dr. Umar is mad at you.
Dr. Umar would
Dr.
hate me. He's like, you playing with the snow bunnies?
Dr. Umar's mad at you. And look, Black women are beautiful. Like,
Black queens forever. Snow bunnies never.
Dr. Umar cracks me up, man. He's a funny guy. Charleston White too.
It's just
Black content creators.
I understand where everyone's going in terms of this preservation thing, but I think it really it's more so the culture that comes with the skin color. That's where the nuance is coming from.
I mean, here's the thing. Like I'm ninth generation Texan. So like 9 generations of my family died here.
No,
like, this is the point. It's not about like it's a white Christian country and because we're white we must live here forever. No, it's because your father, your grandfather, your great grandfather, your great grandfather, they all died here trying to build this American project and contribute to it. you, as a person that's lived here for a while and has ancestry history, you have that exact same claim.
Well, and
that's what they say all the time. Say black people built the country,
and we're saying the same thing. What I'm saying is, if you take the pigmentation out of it, it comes down to a preservation of the value and the culture of whatever you've built in that system. The reason why, I'm not like, oh, I want a bunch of Islamists to come in here and completely revamp and get into all the political situations.
You want
and
Sharia
change
law.
That's what I'm saying. Like, I don't want Sharia law. Like, I
Tim talks about it all the
I
time.
love America. But here's the thing. If, let's say, Mexico and a lot of these other countries had the exact same culture, then I don't really care that much that a white person looks kind of mixed, as long as they're preserving the country. Does that make sense? Like, they're preserving the culture.
I can understand.
But that's an impossible hypothetical.
I know. I know what you're saying. I'm living in a fairy tale, but I'm just saying, like, that's where
the thing is, blood was shed in order for all of us to be here. The problem is, people that have that history, they look at people coming from other parts of the globe to just kind of like jump in at a point where the system's already built up. I think that's where people can take offense to it.
Yeah.
That being said, I mean, people have been driven to this point specifically because of the immigration in the Biden years and how bad it was. So I think it's a phenomenal call. And
one last question for you, Andrew. We asked New Groiper this earlier. Things about Trump. Do you think it's been a net win, net loss? What are the things that you hate?
Biggest positive,
biggest positive, biggest negative. Do you think he did what he said he's going to do?
Biggest positive, probably just like the Zoomer intern hype edits that they post on their DHS Twitter and stuff like that. That's
the
probably
memes.
the biggest positive.
Yeah.
And I mean that not facetiously, because I mean I don't really know. I feel like everything else has just been a total net negative. It's just like now is kind of the time when like I think it's just like there's too many things out of his control. Like his life is on the line. He could have died easily several times up until this point. There's just so many things. I mean, I guess he got that bag with Miriam, but that's cool. But there's just so many things that like he's just I just don't think he has the ability to change as much as one might think. So I think, it's like nice that he's like putting ICE as like a priority, but I don't think he really can even do too much with that as well. I think what's really going to happen these next couple of years is, and it's already happened just the past year, we've given so much ammunition. The media is doing what the media does best. They're finding every single little thing.
They love
and
it.
Blasting it about how this is like Hitler 2.0 and this is like another Holocaust because they're deporting like Maria or something like that. And so they're just going to keep stockpiling and blasting everyone with all of this stuff. And it's going to be a huge power transfer for the next election is what I'm thinking. It's going to be total, because like Rex was saying, the left is a lot more organized. So once they do get back in power, inevitably in 2028, it's going to be pretty brutal. I think they're going to crack down a lot on conservatism and the right wing.
Yeah.
It's coming. It's a scary time to be in America. Thank you,
call, Andrew. Man. Yeah, this was a phenomenal call. Thank you for coming on.
Yeah,
we appreciate you always.
Thanks for having me.
All right, take care.
Awesome.
I gotta say, the callers tonight.
Yeah, we got some good callers, and this is a thing.
I love that, man.
And we talk about these issues and go, oh, you're taking a position. Oh, the other person's taking a position. We're having discussions here that need to be had between the people that live here in the country and for people abroad to see what Americans are thinking about and commenting on. At the end of the day, people have very strong feelings about the country and the nation as it is. They have very strong feelings about the current administration and promises kept, promises broken. They have very strong feelings about the economy and very strong feelings about how much money has really been devalued. And the common thread that we can get to is no one really has a positive vision for the future. Everything is kind of trending towards collapse. And what we have seen from the Trump administration, kind of this last gasp of hope, that's what I considered it. I know that's probably what you considered it as well. You're like, man, this guy got elected. It sure is going to be great.
Ooh, we're not going to hit World War III. Kamala's not getting in. Ooh.
We hear a lot of unhappiness with the base, and we see the left getting poised again. And even though it's just like a New York, New Jersey, and a couple other elections in Virginia, we can really see the bellwether of people kind of trending towards that leftism again, because ultimately, hey, if you promise you're going to give people food and food's expensive, people might go with you.
Yeah, it's just people are getting ping pong back and forth,
Yeah,
man.
that's the American system, and we love it so
Damn.
much, and it's amazing. And like,
let's
it's so sad.
Let's read some of the comments, give you guys some love before we hop off here. But honestly, I really enjoyed that.
I saw an interesting one.
Someone asked me about something about if I was black.
Yeah, no, I'm gonna read it, but it's from the Great Potato Kitty. LOL never claimed it was. It's public live stream. I thought I could ask a question and state my opinions. Yeah, you absolutely can. We're gonna read it. As an African American, how do you feel about the Trump regime firing black military generals and replacing the names of bases with Civil War leaders' names? We'll have to research that, right?
Okay, so I think what he
what do you think?
The reason the Civil War thing, here's the thing. He's trying to appeal to his base a little bit with that, because I think sometime during Biden and during like the George Floyd movement, they tore down a lot of these Civil War things, and like a lot of stuff was replaced.
I mean, if we're naming bases after like Jefferson Davis and stuff, I have a problem with that too. That's not okay.
Yeah, but here's my standpoint on this. Civil War thing, not really, like, that's not triggering to me. There's people who are sensitive, like some LA people, who would be like, how dare they? The firing the black military generals, I'd have to look at it by a case scenario. What he was trying to do was eliminate the whole aspect of the DEI thing. And I have a feeling he may have gotten carried away. And
I think that there's someone specific that they're referring to, and I think it's the last Secretary of Defense, and like he had a whole bunch of like personal issues, like he had like prostate cancer or something like that.
Yeah, there's always more to the story. So that's why when I see stuff like that, like, you know, you see some off scenarios where like maybe some people who were black were fired. That I'm like, okay, well, what's the deeper story behind that? Were they not qualified? Because here's the thing, I'm still for the meritocracy. And, you know, you've got situations where I can see the argument for a little bit of, you know, people who were slightly disadvantaged, but I also really prefer the qualified people to be in there. So I don't really know what the macro level doesn't bother me that much.
Okay. And even then, they can train Americans like they have to train the cheap labor immigrants. The salary for computer scientists is insane, but they don't want to have to pay that kind of money. The speed of which I've seen someone write code for a website is insane.
Yeah, I see what you're saying there. It is kind of difficult sometimes, though, to train people.
Yeah, I mean, it's not the easiest. Sometimes
thing.
you need to get something done quick.
Yeah,
I do understand.
It takes a lot of time and resources for that.
First Amendment, use it or lose it. Totally agree. That's what we're doing here. We are supposed to learn from the past and go onwards. Let's not get stuck repeating insanity. I mean, that's what the country's been for the last 3 generations, I think, at a minimum. Social engineers might send the gray area to sensitivity training. That's right, Tim. Watch it, America. And thank you. It's real late in the stream. We're probably about to end it, but repost the stream, guys. Repost the stream. Help us out. And really follow Truism Tim on X. Look, he's got a great X account. Posts a lot of stuff and a lot of clips from the show. And if you want to,
probably pissed off a lot of people tonight, but who knows?
Well, look, we're doing the show because we're here to talk to the people, and we're not here to entertain the people or placate to the people. These are your opinions. I have my opinions. The callers have their opinions. That's the First Amendment. It's beautiful.
And that's how you know it's not a circle jerk. Here's the thing. You know, I am in the center and I lean more conservative, you know, but I'm not MAGA to the point.
I'm in a weird political,
but like you're like also in that weird like middle area where you kind of lean a little bit more left, right?
It's weird. Yeah, like I want single payer health care for people. I think that we should have a governmental healthcare system. Every other developed nation does. The fact that we don't is insane, right?
Yeah.
The doctor, they literally are like, oh, I decide it's this much money for X operation. Like that's complete bullshit. I'm in favor of giving people food. Oh, whoever thought of that? Maybe we don't have to give them Twinkies or Snickers, but hey, if you can't eat, we should help you eat.
Right.
I'm a fan of that. And see, all those things require governmental power at a certain level and centralized power at a certain level. And people will criticize me and come after me and call me a leftist. Well, like, people have been calling it on the live stream tonight. They've been calling it and they've been saying it's the greatest country in the world. Well, is it the greatest country in the world if no one can eat? And no one can go to the doctor? Like, are we crazy?
Right.
And like, this is the thing. I started watching Due Dissidence years ago, And I was very much proud of my opinion that like we should have private healthcare. And I was like, America's awesome. Like I have money. I can pay for good operation. It is what it is. People should just need to make more money. And I watched that show and I realized, man, I'm really ignorant motherfucker. And I don't really have a capacity to understand just how hard people are hurting and suffering out there. I have to take a step back and look at it. You should have healthcare. You should be able to, if you're going to have a baby, you should have maternity leave. Things that these European countries have because we paid for their defense all these years. We should have them here. Why do we get the worst deal? Why do we pay the most for drugs out of anywhere? And Trump comes in and says, well, you can get Ozempic cheaper. And it's like, okay, one win out of thousands, tens of thousands of Medicare.
One of the things that I did not mention on the last episode when we did talk about healthcare was around the patent system and like
that's great.
And that we create drugs. We're the first in line for a lot of these things. So like I didn't really go through the pros of, you know, American healthcare because it's not all bad guys. I mean, there's definitely issues in every single country depending on what system that they have. Canada has its own sets of issues where like,
it's hard to get in.
Where some of them are like, dude, I wish I had American healthcare because the line's out the door for them to get a specific surgery, whereas here you can probably get it done a lot quicker because there's not a line out the door. But like again, it's very hard to blend.
But it's the highway robbery that goes on. It's the emergency room. It's the fees. It's them. You have to pay tens of thousands of dollars to be in a bed for a week.
Yeah, it's like I almost try to figure out like, okay, does the cost equal the benefit? You know, like, yeah, we've got some really great things, but does it really cost that much? And is it really that expensive because, or is it a profit thing?
I just thought of this. Are the ambulances private? Because they're owned by the hospital. The ambulance is private.
Yeah.
Why?
Well, I'm not, because firefighting, those are public.
Right.
And I think ambulance and fire. Well, if it's the emergency ambulance, we got to look this up. I actually don't know the answer to this question. I'm not going to pretend like I do. But I will say that there's a lot of times when the firefighters, okay, so they are.
Some are privately.
I think most of them are public, I thought.
Well, public ambulances, it looks like. And then there are private ambulances. I'm sure, like, this is a chat GPT thing. You like ask it percentages.
Yeah.
Here, I'm going to do that right now. Talk for a little bit.
Yeah, but in general, like when the firefighter is called, normally the ambulance is also coming out of the same, you know, I think that's a local budget that goes to that. What are we seeing percentage wise? Okay, so 59%. Am I seeing that? Yeah. 39% is public for fire department, 59%, only 9%. That would make sense.
Okay.
That would make sense.
All right. Well, I'm sure somehow there's a gouge and a grift in there that we could find, but we'll read a few more comments. Trump's just totally sold on this idea by the wealthy billionaires around him that they want the cheap labor. They cut him a check. It's conflict of interest, quid pro quo. If there's a mess, we will have to clean it up. China is one of the oldest nations. They have the ability to build something like ours. They would have. Trump is willfully misinformed. I agree with that big time. It was 170 billion to Ukraine. Some of it lent. Most of it was donating old weapons. Yeah. Okay.
No. Some of it was old weapons.
All right.
I'll give him
Listen. Why are we out of Patriots then? Why are we out of the Patriot?
No, we ran out of the old shit.
But where's the new stuff? Oh, it doesn't exist. Bing, bang, boom. We don't have weapons. We don't have weapons. And you say 170 billion. I believe you're quoting the first Biden aid package, which it was in excess of 200 billion. I don't have the stats right in front of me. Hold on. I know that you're wrong. I know that you're wrong. There's no justification for the Ukraine war. Oh, we're degrading Russia's capabilities. They make more missiles in 2 months than the entirety of NATO makes in a year.
Right.
It's on its face ridiculous. And when you advocate for it, I know you're thinking of Ukraine as like, oh, like they're the rebel alliance. They're fighting against the evil Russian Empire coming to take their territory. Ukraine is the most corrupt country in Europe. 1 million of their people have died in this war. It's absolutely insane. They're all doing it for the West, who will come in after the war and rebuild Ukraine and essentially own it. It's done for BlackRock, Vanguard, and State Street. The whole war is about that. and there's nothing good about it. There's no like silver line. Oh, we spent a little less money. No, we spent more money than is probably even on the books for it.
So
We
just
dumped it in Ukraine.
just to clarify, like on a $170 billion package, and I forgot to mention this all the times that we talk about this, $170 billion isn't all just going directly into the Ukrainian government. Part of that percentage, and I think a good amount of it, goes actually towards the American companies to actually build the stuff and replenish the stockpiles that were like we got to look into the fine print and actually look at the percentages, because I know when they've done some of these packages, not all of it has gone. So
This isn't the full number.
Just do you have ChatGPT?
Yeah. We'll
do
cover it
a
later.
we'll do a deep dive, but like I know that I've dived into this before, and it's also American investments. It's the Lockheeds and the Raytheons making money from the government.
Bullshit.
Yeah, it's all bullshit.
It's all bullshit. But yeah, I mean, look, there's not really anything you can cut to with the American government doing well.
Yeah,
you really can't. And at the end of the day, like, we're grateful to do the show on the gray area.
I really had fun tonight.
Yeah, we had a great time. We do the show because you are important and you have important views, you have important criticisms of the government, and where do you get to voice those in a really nonpartisan environment? That being said, we all have political opinions and whatnot, but me and Tim are sitting here really as independents who are not members of any political party. We're not trying to push Trump Kool-Aid. We're not trying to push Bernie Sanders Kool-Aid, not AOC Kool-Aid, not Ted Cruz Kool-Aid, not Israel Kool-Aid, not Russian Kool-Aid, not China Kool-Aid. American values, American systems of freedom, liberty, equality, and ultimately of dialogue.
We're trying to speak for that silent majority, man.
Right. We're just trying to have these conversations because everywhere we looked before starting the show, it's just partisan show, partisan show, partisan show. Like,
circle jerk, circle jerk.
Yeah, I mean, like you look on the left at like Dan Packman or Destiny. You look on the right, you got Crowder and you got Mark Levin, and it's all the same crap. We're talking about the real problems. We're talking about the real issues, and we're just grateful you were here with us tonight. Is there anything else you want to talk about?
No, and also the other thing I'll add to what you were talking about, that's also another thing we saw why I do the deep dives on Sundays, which you guys should definitely be tuning in for every single Sunday. The more segments that we're going to come out with are going to be more issues that hit home and issues that are more pertaining, not always necessarily war, but we wanted this to be an educational show where you can gain and learn something by the end of that episode to be like, wow, you know what? I thought I knew this thing, but I didn't. And I spent a lot of time doing the research and I spend tens of hours on this so that I can give you guys
Tim is
the
very
value.
dedicated to getting the absolute best facts and information.
And I do it like not across partisan lines. I literally have to like try to go into the nitty gritty and find, okay, are you leaning a little bit more right? I don't like that. I'm trimming the fat for you guys. That way I can get.
And then you get to see us evolve on our positions and change them over time as more data and knowledge and inference comes in. I mean, like, we've talked a lot about Israel. I think I may have swayed you just a tiny bit into like being a little critical, right?
Yeah. I mean, before us talking and from before me diving in, I was a little bit more on the Israel gravy train, but like, I'm also, I still am not necessarily like anti-Semite.
No, certainly not. I wouldn't call myself that either. But at the same time, like, we played the videos, the finance minister on the show, and you're like, well, that's pretty bad. Yeah. So my point being with that was not to get to that geopolitical topic.
Always talk about Israel. Everybody wants to talk about Israel.
My point is, we covered things, and then based on the information, we're able to evolve or like discard a viewpoint that may or may not have been correct. Like, I talk about myself and single payer healthcare and people being able to afford childcare and afford to have kids. Like, I think if you're pro-life, I think you have to have those positions. How could you tell people to be pro-life and have children if the kid can't eat?
Right.
So it's about being ideologically consistent, not loyal to not loyal to subjective values, but loyal to the truth. So in closing, you got anything to say?
Last thing I'll say is, look, we've got 1,000 of you guys in here tonight. I appreciate every single one of you guys for tuning in. And everyone's on X. I think we got some people on YouTube and Rumble, but
doing good.
We go out and we produce full episodes as well that we pull from the lives, just in case you missed some of the content.
Right.
Go and watch that on X. Go and watch that on Rumble. Go and watch that on YouTube. The link is in the bio on the gray area. And I would appreciate even 10 of you guys giving me a follow tonight if you guys really appreciated this segment. And I just, again, I just want to continue to provide, give you guys value, and it motivates me every single time.
Think about how much we would love it if we just had a few people just go out and spam and retweet our stuff. Think about how awesome that would be, how much we would appreciate that. Just a like, just a comment, just sharing a video. Like, that means so much to us, guys. So like, if we had a couple people do that, if a couple people repost the stream and do that, a couple people share clips and do that from Gray Area Talks on X, we would really appreciate it, guys. And look, Tim has put in so much work doing this show. And I kind of sit here and I'm pretty politically informed. I'm pretty passionate on a number of issues. I have experience doing a show. So I'm coming here and I'm bloviating a lot, and I need to get better and I need to get more dedicated. Tim is bringing these hard hitting topics to the show. I'm not doing it. Be honest with you right now. I'm not doing it. I'm like finding things that I've been interested in for a while and kind of continuing the saga on like war economy front. Tim is like, hey, I found this out. I'm investigating this. We need to cover this for the show. I'm like, great, perfect. Send me the information. And then like this notion that you have all your notes put together, I was just like, wow, every single show you see, every figure, statistic, number he has, you can make the arrogant decision of being like, I already knew that. I'm aware of this topic, this subject. Yeah. No, you're not, because I wasn't. And I get more informed every time I listen to him, especially on Sunday when we do the prepared segments. But hey, just coming in today for a Tuesday, Thursday show, you already had so much prepped on that topic. I'm just like, wow. You know, so like, look, if you want that level of dedication and commitment and love of the game, then you need to follow Tim Tompkins on X at Truism Tim. It's up in our graphic. You can see it on the show. I think so. Yeah, it's
linked
right there.
in your bio.
It's underneath me. We're kind of swapped there. But you got to go give him a follow on X. You got to go do it. You got to share the stuff, because look, we're doing it for you, and ultimately we appreciate it so much when people show interest in the show. And I know we appreciate that as a group, but I know you're putting in so much hard work on these segments. I know it mean a lot to you personally.
And just the quality too. Like the reason why I didn't want us to be in Bin Laden's cave anymore.
Yeah, like you got the new background, guys.
You know, all these new sets and stuff like that. And I like the transitions. Like everything is like, you know what? Let's make this as professional for you guys and not just feel like this is just some backyard recording where we're just recording this out of your dining room, which we are, but this looks amazing.
It's not
I appreciate that.
It's a giant thing on top of a mountain.
Yeah,
this is like a shinobi cave. But yeah, thank you guys so much. And just we'll say it again, magic words. Please follow Truism Tim on X and follow Gray Area Talks. Look, if you want to see our clips, if you're interested in our show, you want to see more of it, what we've covered in the past, follow our clip channel, our clip page on X at Gray Area Talks. But thank you so much.
Thank you guys. Take care. Have a good night.
Good night.